crazy times, the world just needs a hero to help cut through all the noise.
Well, now you have two.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and happy Thanksgiving, ladies and gentlemen. You are listening to the Heroes of Noise podcast. I'm one half of this amazing dynamic duo. My name is Steve.
Greetings, salutations, happy Black Friday. Though you probably won't get this on Friday. That's where we're recording right now. Hope you guys are all out shopping and spending your money, wasting that shit, because, you know, no one's going to appreciate it. Let's face it, Steve, right? These little shit asses, they don't appreciate what you get them. They just want the next gift, right? How are we starting off so far? I'm a bitter son of a bitch this morning.
I see that, man. What is going on with you all of a sudden? No, I'm joking. Hey, happy Thanksgiving,
yeah,
man.
brother, you too. Hope you had a good one.
I did. Tell us what did you do, man? What was the Ramirez Thanksgiving like?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't think I could tell you that because I wasn't with the Ramirez side of the family last night. I was with my my wife's side of the family, actually. And it was pretty cool. Normally I would be like, it's cool. It was a good Thanksgiving. Everyone had some food. We ate, went home, chilled out, and fell asleep. Then all that happened. But it was nice because we got together with my wife's side of the family. And it was pretty cool. I know I already said that, but what was so cool about it was that once my father-in-law passed, which was about 5 years ago, the family kind of broke apart. Not like because of drama or anything. Kinda. I'll get to that. But, everyone went their own separate ways. You got the youngsters that are no longer youngsters with their kids. They're married. They're off doing their own thing. Everyone was just doing their own thing, and the holidays got very different than what they used to be. So without getting into the family drama of things, because there was some sibling rivalry, we'll just say, amongst my mother-in-law and, her siblings. And it went on for years. And people weren't talking for a long time. And, you have to kind of think about this shit. Like, you don't get time back, right? You can't buy your time back. You got to make every second count. So
exactly, they
all kind of put their heads together and decided, let's squash this shit and let's all have a big Thanksgiving again. So for the first time in like 5 years, everybody was back together again at my wife's uncle's house. And for you locals, it's in the Tower District. It's one of those really, like in the Tower District, that's our little hip area in Fresno. And it's one of the older areas in Fresno as well. So it's like, it was this plot of land and everybody sort of just built their houses custom. It wasn't like these tract homes where they all look the same or anything like that. So all of these houses have like character. So beautiful house, beautiful family. Outside, we were chilling by the fire pit. Her uncle, he's a single dude, but he's like a young single dude. Like, I think he's like, age-wise, he's like 60, I think, but he's young in the head. You know what I'm saying? And so he had like his own little man cave, nothing like with like audio and video things, but it was like a bar. He had a nice TV up there. You walk outside, you got this huge area where everyone can sit back, and there's a fire pit going.
Oh, come on.
Drinks were flowing, conversation was had. It was nice. And then we had like a new set, like the little kids I was talking about. I hadn't seen them forever. Last time I saw them, they were just in, how like, hey, what's up, everybody? I'm just going to park my kid right here while we have fun because the kid's just sleeping.
Oh, for sure.
Kid's just going to sleep in his car seat the whole time. That's the last time I saw these kids. And now there was Jack and Margot, the cutest damn little kids you ever seen, little hipster-looking kids, man. And they were funny, and it was great to have that atmosphere again, man. About like my kids were the little ones the last time we did this. Wow. So it was really nice, man. My son didn't get to make it because he is recovering from the flu. But other than that...
that I did not know.
I didn't want his sickly ass over there anyway, man, making everybody sick and everything.
Jeez Louise, and that's a rough... Like I said, I my first flu was last year, and I don't wish...
Your first flu was last year?
Yes.
I don't know what is up with you, Hudson. I mean, that's a good thing. I'm glad that you've lived a healthy life, but you just say shit that I've never heard anyone say before. I'm 40 years old, and my first flu... I'm like, oh, your first flu, was it bad? Did you stay home from school? No, G, I just stayed home from work. It was like...
It's freaking
How long did you have the flu?
But I had it for... Okay, I went to work for the first 2 days I had it. And I was like, I feel weak, man. I don't know what's going on. I started getting a headache. And then the third day, my body was like, oh, we're not doing this today. Like, we're not doing this. So for the first time in 8 years, I called in sick. And they were just like, even my supervisor was like, are you okay? Because this is not a call we get. I'm like, no, I have the flu. And they're like, oh, no. They're like, yeah, you're going to be out for a minute then. And I was out for 2 days. And then I went back on Thursday.
Please don't take this as a personal attack, because I promise you I'm not going to start the show like this.
Yes.
But I don't get down with that philosophy. Like, if you're sick, great. That's fantastic. You know what I mean? Like, if you haven't called in 8, 10 years.
For sure.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
But it kind of bugs me. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about other people that I've worked with. Like, I've never called in ever. Well, yeah. And I've showed up with the flu. And fuck you. You just got everybody sick. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't.
It's a terrible. No. What you're saying right now, I wish someone would have told me years ago, where it's like, dude, you can't take that you can't take it with you. B, you're totally replaceable. And C, it doesn't make a difference in the long run. There is no trophy you get.
Right.
It's a terrible, but it's an American industrialized thought process. You work. That is how you think of things. But I don't think we should. I think it's going to be like, look, if you sick, take the day off, because no one's going to be like, this guy right here. No, if you get in trouble, they're going to treat you just like you always called in sick. They're going to treat you just like the person who calls in sick every other week. You're both in troubles.
My philosophy is, if you're sick, you're sick. And you should take that time to yourself, particularly if you have the sick time and everything. Now, if you're calling in, I got a hangnail, or, I didn't sleep very well last night, I'm going to call in sick. That's a whole other story. But if you have the flu, keep your sick ass home. And preserve the health. Think about the people that you work around that have kids. You just gave them the flu. Congratulations.
I have never felt so good to have such a little progress. Like, those 2 days, I didn't eat anything. I wasn't nauseous or anything, but my body was like, I'm not hungry. I just want to lay down. And I had a headache. I watched a bunch of comedies that helped. So I think that was when I watched The Jerk, and I had to turn it off because it helped too much. I'm like, I cannot laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh. I have to laugh a little to get me in a better mood, because the more when I laughed at that, it gave me a headache. So I just kept on going. And on that, all I needed, when I could walk on that third day, I said, oh my gosh, I can walk. Like, it was amazing. And I just said, I'm getting the flu shot for the rest of my life. I don't care if it just limits it to 3% less of a chance. I'll take it. Okay, shoot me up. I'll take 3% less of a chance of that ever happening again. Sure.
You want to know what I think?
So, yeah. What?
I don't think you really had the flu. I'm not saying you're lying. I think you might be mistaken, because hear me out.
Go.
And I'm only comparing it to what the flus that I've had, because when I get the flu, dude, like, there is no turning back, and it's a 5-day process minimum.
Oh, jeez.
We're talking fevers of 102, nausea, vomiting, backside stuff, dude. If you catch my drift, and not the good kind.
Yeah. Yes.
What else? Just like completely limp, soaking into your bed, and to the point where I wouldn't even want to watch television. Like, I remember the first time I had, like, well, that's not true, but like in my adult life, when I had a flu that was just so ridiculously bad, I remember I was going to I'm going to take this time and just try to catch up on some shows. And at the time it was Breaking Bad. Now, I don't know if it was just season 1 of Breaking Bad that just wasn't really popping or not, but I couldn't even concentrate on it. I just turned it off, and that was the first time I tried watching it, and I didn't go back to it for a few years. But
you have bad flu, because I did have a fever, and I was sweating.
Yeah, okay.
And I couldn't walk. But it was one of those things where what I messed up on is like going to work the first 2 days with it. Because every other 5 minutes I had to go lay down in this. I had an office, not my office, but someone else's office that I would make a chair bed and just lay down. And it took one of EVS to be like, dude, you don't look well. I was like, yeah, I know. And they're like, no, that's not normal. Like, even when they were talking to me, they said, this isn't the normal Steve. Like, this isn't you. So something's wrong. Even when you have a cold, you act different. But this is not, I've never seen you like this. And I was like, oh yeah, well, the next day I came in, they're like, dude, we don't want to be around you because we don't want to take whatever you have to our kids. I'm like, oh, I didn't even think of that. Wasn't even in my thought process. They're like, yeah, you're walking around people who are already, as far as their immune system, they're compromised. And you're walking around here with whatever you have. I was like, oh my gosh, I am, dude. I totally am.
It's an ugly thing, man. In actuality, when I got to my current place of business, the employment that we share,
yes,
I tried that because I was working with this cat. I know he doesn't listen. I'm not going to say his name or anything, but he's that guy. I never called in sick. Yeah, but you bring your nasty ass to work all the time and you get everyone else sick. Gross, dude. But I was kind of like, I don't want to say in competition with him. Okay, let me try this out is what I was thinking. I'm going to go ahead and go to work this time. I'm going to try to push through. I'm going to take my little Theraflu, my little Dayquil or whatever, and I'm going to show up. And I remember the one time that I tried that there, we were working with, who was I working with? She's probably going to be listening. I was working with Summer. What's up, Summer?
What's up, Summer? We see you. We see you.
Thanks for listening. She likes our show, man. She listens all the time. She told me that just the other day. Good. So it's factual. But I remember I was like, I was just dying. I was wilting there trying to work. And it was a slow night too. So there's nothing worse than a slow night because, for me anyway, because I want to stay busy so it keeps my mind off of it. And I remember I was just wilting in this chair. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go post up. Like, I'm going to go lie down in this other room here. Call me if you need me. If you need anything, call me if you need me. But there's no point. I could either just be sitting still here or lying still there. But it's the same thing. There's nothing going on. And I just crashed out, man. I didn't sleep. Well, okay, I did. Now, don't anyone tell this to my boss because I don't want to get fired. But yeah, I pretty much crashed out, but I was ready. You know what I mean? Like, just call me if you need me kind of thing. But I remember just sitting there and just soaking sweat. My clothes were soaked and everything.
Oh, no, you can't do that. Yeah, you can't. It's not even worth it. I mean, especially since we're afforded mental days too. Sometimes you need a mental day. Whereas it's the day you wake up and you're like, whether it be something happened at home, you broke up with your girl, your boy, you just, the monotony of going to work every day, you're about to have a break. They actually say, we've seen that and you need to not come in. You need to take a mental day. And they won't ask you why. They'll just be like, stay home with that attitude. You really need to stay home with that.
Yeah, that place is really good about taking care of you rather when you have those type of situations. If you have benefits. If not, they're like, you better bring your ass to work, sickie.
No, that's true. And it's one of those things where I've noticed that there was a lot of issues. I was like, man, this and this about the job. I realized, I'm like, oh, it's me. They give me every afforded possibility of me to enjoy things. If I don't, it's me. Because they're like, okay, if you need a mental day, take off. Well, I'm so stressed. Take off a mental day. I don't feel well. Take off sick day then. I need some time off. Take a vacation then. I'm like, okay, so it's me. Here's what you're telling me.
I just cannot wait until these benefits kick in eventually, some decade.
Oh, it will.
People are like, I need to take off 3 days for education purposes. Education purposes? What are you going to out of town? No, I'm just going to sift through a catalog and do my continuing education credits. And in my head, I'm like, that shit that takes 30 minutes to do? Okay. All right. And you're getting paid to do it.
Yep.
Okie dokie.
No, it's to the point, if I call my supervisor and say, I have a final tomorrow and I really have to study, they will make a way, be like, okay, then don't.
Are you okay? Are you okay, Steven?
Yeah.
You better take care of yourself, buddy.
But it's also because of what I've laid down for the last 15 years. You know what I'm saying? They're like, he's handled business for the last 15 years. Or they're like, what do we need for you to move up? And we would love to see you succeed. So go. And that's why I never take advantage of it. I'm just like, nope, I'm just going to come in here and handle that bit. But I am, as far as when I'm sick, I'm going to start doing it. So I'm glad that I have that new attitude where it's just like, look, man, in order for me to work well, I have to be well. So I need to start taking care of myself as far as, taking off and I need to start taking, I have also said, because I was going through things, before I go into it, can you give me something that you're thankful for this last year? Having nothing to do with the show.
Oh, I'm not thankful for anything then. Let me see, man. It's been kind of a year for me, dude. It's been a rough ride this year. So
I know.
I'm thankful that I'm still standing. I'm thankful that my family's healthy and everything like that. And that's generic.
No, but that's important. Those are good things. Yeah.
But I'm gonna flip it. I'm gonna go with the negative and turn it into a positive. How's that?
Oh, snap. Okay.
Regardless of losing my full-time job and losing my benefits and all of that, I'm actually thankful that I lost that job because it has given me so much time, not so much time, but it's given me a lot of time to just like change my perspective on things. And I've sort of flipped the script on how I'm like, I have a new attitude myself, I guess what I'm saying. And by the way, I think I need to do a Patti LaBelle drop because you say new attitude a lot and there's no reason why I should. You know what I mean?
Patti LaBelle. I got a new attitude.
Yeah, I got to do that because I bet you like 30% of people don't even know what the fuck we're talking about. But you'll see. We'll get it there. We need that drop. I've gained perspective. And, like I said, working at that very brief stint at that other job, it showed me that I don't have to just like grasp onto the first thing grasp rather onto the first thing that comes around because it made me miserable. And it's teaching me that like 2019 is going to be a completely different philosophy of how I do things. And I'm going to take more time for my family, take more time for myself. And I want to, put it into the show and everything. So yeah, I mean, that's really it. I'm thankful for life, man. And I'm thankful to not be at that piece of shit job that I used to be at, my full-time gig, where you're not appreciated whatsoever. And
that's good.
It's all about money. You work at a healthcare facility and they never mention healthcare ever. It was all about just numbers, literally the word numbers, numbers, money, money, money. All of those people were pieces of shit. So I'm really glad. I'm thankful to be away from those pieces of shit. Seriously. And I don't even mean it in a bitter way. Like I wish I could drop in audio onto the show of some of the conversations that I've had behind closed doors in a management position where the manager is laughing at people's woes. Or laughing at the fact that someone's going to get laid off. I'm sure he did it about me. Yeah. Because his little pathetic ass got like $1 bump or something. You know what I mean? Yeah. Again, I'm not even bitter. Like, this is just real shit. So,
and you're thankful for having a new perspective.
Yeah, because I would sit there numerous times and be like, why am I here? Like, this isn't me. I took this position because it sounded good. And yeah, I'm whatever. I'm making good money at it or whatever. But I felt like a terrible person for being in this position, and I don't think it's that way just in management in general. It was just at that particular facility and probably a lot of other facilities in town, all over the country, all over the world, where people are just tyrants. And I'm glad to be away from that, man, because it was really bumming me out. And there'd be times, even when we record, where I would have to like really like right before the music dropped, I'd have to do and just, you know what I'm saying? And like turn it on, man, because I was all caught up in it. So that's what I'm thankful for. Now, I'm not going to forget about your Thanksgiving, dude, because I wanted to ask you about that too. But what are you thankful for?
I'm thankful for reaching 40, obviously. A lot of people didn't. And I always have to say, you know what, dude, this is another year I made it through without any devastating situations. The one thing about when I was deep in church, the one thing that they always used to say is, if you're not in a low valley right now, be ready, because you will be in one day. Just brace yourself, because it's going to happen. And I'll always take that away. So I'm just like, every day that it's not that, I'm happy, because I know everyone's going to have ups and downs, but even the downs you could actually see. But this whole year has been a year of good stuff happening. I mean, and maybe there were a few valleys, but that's how good this last year was, is that I don't remember the valleys. I just don't remember them, because they seemed big at the time. But then when I came out of them, I'm like, you know what? That whatever happened, both parties, or even if it was just me, they'll be better for it. Life will be okay. And what I'm saying? You just got to push forward. So I'm thankful I reached 40. Obviously family, friends, all that stuff. But I'm glad that, one thing I'm really glad is that my circle is smaller and tighter. I'm glad for. I'm thankful that my circle is smaller and tighter, and that I've, some people have.
I'm just thinking dirty thoughts right now about your circle being smaller and tighter.
Of course. I thought you were going to say that's what she said. But
no, man, I'm spare. I'm putting that's what she said on a moratorium personally, just for a little bit. Just for a little bit. Not every day. Just a little bit.
It's not going to happen.
You got me covered, so I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, don't trip. I got you. But I like that people have left the circle, unfortunately. And it sucks. Some of the people I saw leave the circle, it sucks to see them leave. But I like that it's becoming a more, a more condensed situation. And the people that are in my circle are close, are close. And I think as you get older, the circle will be tighter. But every single as Thanksgivings come around, I'm going to start thinking and looking back on, who are still there. Because at 40 now, I think my circle is going to be the circle. I think this is it. This is the circle, for the rest of my my life.
Your current circle, as you put it, is going to be like who you're keeping with. Is what you mean?
Yes.
Got it.
Yes, yeah. Those are probably who I'm. Because unfortunately, man, we're on the
ass end of things.
We're on the at this point we're either at the very top of the hill on the way down.
That's what I'm going with. That's why that makes me feel better to say that.
We have to, and we're looking on the other side. I mean, there's this great James Taylor song called Secret of Life, and he's pretty much talking about, how did I get this old? Like, how did this happen? But he's like, the secret of life is enjoying the passage of time. And he's just like, you just have to be like, hey, you just enjoy the ride. You know what I'm saying? And talking about, because you look back, you're like, I'm 40 or I'm 45 or I'm 46. When did this happen? And then you look back on time, you're like, oh yeah, it did happen because all these things happened. But I mean, for me, it's just like now I'm understanding how people that are 90, 80, 70 are just okay with being old because they're like, boy, do I have some memories. Like when you just look back on, wow, what a life I led. So I know that, I am just thankful for, again, my circle getting a lot smaller, and that I reached 40 and, other than family, friends, all that stuff. And this was a good year, man. This was a darn good year.
Hey, don't take this as I'm just throwing this out and trying to make a joke out of it or anything. But there's one thing I'm thankful for, bro. I'm being dead serious about this, okay? Even though you and I don't see each other as like physically as much as we used to, I am thankful that I feel like we've gotten closer. You know what I mean? Like we totally have gone from, and we've been this way for a while actually, but we've gone from the hey, even though we do this every week, what you watching or what are you reading or whatever. Yeah. Like we talk real shit now, and that's something that just kind of started up over the last year or so, particularly with Heroes of Noise.
Oh, there's no question. Well, the thing is, if something happened, you would like if something happened to me. You were on the list of people my mom would call. It would be like, look, we're kind of keeping this on the, whatever, but just, Steve, you were on the list for him to let you know this stuff.
That's much appreciated, dude.
Yeah, because you're just in my circle. I'm like, this is my groove. And if I'm going through something, I don't really talk to a bunch of people. You're going to be the one that I'm just like, okay. Because I see you as a person that has, if anyone in my life has been through something that I've been through, I'd be like, I bet you Dan went through that. And especially kid stuff. Like when my son's going to college, I'm going to have a million questions because you're going to be like, oh yeah. Like you make me feel good about, I'm like, when is he going to start doing this? And you're like, oh yeah, good luck on that. That's not a thing that's going to happen. You're going to have to make it happen. You're going to have to make him do that. I'm like, when do they naturally start doing that?
Yeah, that doesn't just kick in naturally.
And I thought it just, for instance, when I was just like, when is he going to want to get his license? You're the one that said, oh, I'm going to tell you this right now. You're going to have to make that happen because you carting him around is very comfortable. You're going to have to make that. And you were totally right.
I think I was right when it comes to our kids. But I still think there are those kids that are super driven that just want it. Like my daughter, for instance. She's 15. She just wants it. Like I let her try, I took her out and kind of drove her around, or she drove around in a parking lot. Like she's good. She's solid. She's ready to rock it. But my son, he was like, no, I'm cool. You can just drop me off with everything.
Same with him. That's I was like, hey, want to drive? No, I don't want to drive it. But like, can we go? I'd rather go to an empty place that's empty for like miles. And I'm like, there's no place like that.
But the odd thing is now, because I can't keep him home. Like even this morning, literally, he's like, hey, I didn't even know he left. Because I woke up at 4:30 this morning, dude. And from a crazy ass dream that I wish I could explain because I have been having the weirdest dreams lately, but that's besides the point. I woke up in the 4:30 in the morning, and of course I went on Twitter, and there was this big orange prick already starting to do his thing, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna just drop it right now because I want to go back to sleep. We got to bring fire today, so I wanted to be ready.
Yes,
but I couldn't sleep, so I said okay. And by the way, I'm a cheap date. And what I mean by that is if I take like 2 Benadryl, I am jacked up. I've always been very sensitive to medication. So I took one. I took 1 Benadryl. I said, I'll just sleep for like maybe 2 hours. And then like 4 hours later, I wake up. But I got a call from him. He's like, hey, you want something? You want some breakfast or something? I'm like, what are you here? What are you talking about? He's like, no, I've been out for a while. I said, oh, no, I'm good. I'm like, good, man, thanks. And he's like, okay. And then he comes back. He's like, are you sure you don't want anything? Because I can go get it right now if you want. I said, I'm just going to make some coffee. I can go down to Starbucks for you if you want. He just wants to be in the car all the time.
That is really cool.
Yeah, he's working. If he's not working, he's driving around, So it's weird how it just suddenly kicks in. But for a while, he was terrified, literally terrified of driving that car. He did not want to do it. And it's just weird. It'll kick in like a, like changing gears or something.
That is so. Now, is he an 8-hour? Working, or does he do part-time?
He does 8 hours. Oh, you mean like a full-time versus a part-time job?
No, I'm saying like, does he do 8-hour shifts?
Yeah, he'll do 8-hour shifts.
Those are the worst, dude.
I got to give that kid props, man. He does. Yeah, no, he went to work on Wednesday night. They called him to say, hey, would you like to work? We're shorthanded. He was sick. He was that kid. Like he had the flu. Yeah. And he said, all right, I'll go in. But he was hurting bad. He had us all loaded up on Theraflu and everything. And Goes in, does his job, and he was going to work yesterday as well, but he was really sick yesterday. Today he's obviously feeling better because he's out driving around. But they said, listen, you did us a favor, so go ahead and take Thanksgiving off. Someone will work it for you. We got it covered. Someone probably just probably just wanted the overtime. You know what I mean?
That
the holiday
is dope,
pay.
G.
But he's not a full-time thing. He's like a part-time, but he loves it. He worked at a grocery store, and he's killing it, man. He's got that personality for that, where he can just, charm the old ladies as he's walking them out to the car.
Of course, he's a charming young lad.
Trying to get a tip, and he can't get tips because I guess it's a, for lack of a better word, it's a no-no.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. But what they don't know won't hurt them, Steve. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no. It's funny. Speaking of things I would thankful for, I did come up with a Steve pet peeve this week.
Ooh, please do. Oh, okay, go ahead.
No, first do the contact information.
Well, I know, but
because we're never
because we're like 27 minutes.
And I promise I'll come back. Yeah, I promise I'll come back to it though afterwards.
All right. I just
because we already did our thankful.
I feel bad because
so I don't want to switch gears. I don't want to be like thankful now. No, first we'll do the contact. Then I'm going to take y'all down a notch because all y'all do this. And I need to tell y'all to chill.
What I like about this show is that we are loosely formatted. Like we do our thing every week. But people that have been listening religiously know that we're going to get to it eventually. And we're not, it's like, why are they talking so much this time? We always just go on and on. I feel bad. I'm just going to put it out there. I feel bad that I didn't ask you how your Thanksgiving was.
Oh, I'll tell you for sure. It's the same as yours.
Oh, that was a lovely story, Steve.
No, it was chilling with family, friends. You know what's funny though? Michael Bruno, what's up?
So Mike,
my brother was like, what's up with the podcast? I was like, man, we're going to get it to you tomorrow. He was like, where's the podcast? I was like, I didn't think that. I was like, and also Johnny Bucks hit us up.
I saw that
on Facebook.
That Superman gift was funny, man.
Freaking Johnny Bucks cracked me up. Johnny Bucks sending what's funny? He sent us a picture of him in a tux. That is a dashing young man.
Yeah,
he's dashing when he wants to.
We should give some accolades to Groove Zoo.
Yeah.
Now, you guys, let's talk about Groove Zoo for a second. Particularly if you're overseas in the UK area, Groove Zoo is like your top wedding band. Now that sounds crazy. Now you think of like American wedding bands and you think like wedding singer immediately, but these guys got their shit going on. They got full stage show. They got the floors that light up and shit and smoke, and they're like very, very talented musicians. And they
got a lead singer.
And they tour. They got two, actually. They have two lead singers.
Do they really? Oh, Brother Man.
Yeah. And then, of course, the other one.
The other
one. No, seriously, like if you guys are in the UK area and you're looking to get hitched up, you already booed up, but you're ready to get hitched up, call Groove Zoo.
For the first time. You can use them both times you do it. So,
what are you trying to say? Are you correcting me? Are you trying to do some shit and make me seem stupid?
No, I'm just saying you can, for both times you get married, you can use them both times.
Yeah, if you get married three times.
First one's not going to stick. Probably.
Nah, well, these days, probably not. But
exactly.
Hire Groove Zoo. Check them out. I wish I had their URL on hand, but I don't because we just started talking about it. But Johnny Bucks, killing it. And I wanted to congratulate you, even though they were nominated for Best Wedding Band in the UK, I think it is. Again, I'm sort of winging this one. And unfortunately, they did not get that. But you know what? I'm calling bullshit. I didn't even hear the other band. But you know what? I don't see their ads everywhere. I don't see them putting out videos and making music videos and just all this exposure. So,
no, not at all.
Ladies and gentlemen, I can't tell you enough. Hire Groove Zoo, please.
For sure. And if you're not, I would hire them just for fun. Because why the crap are you getting married? Just hire them.
That's the other thing too. I guess that's how I've always heard it as wedding band. But why can't they just be like a regular band? Hire him for a party or something like that.
You know what I just thought about? You have a wedding band and you also wear a wedding band. How crazy is that?
You know what I'm saying? The crickets have spoken, Steve.
Do our contact information, bruh. I'm done.
All right.
I think I'm gonna check out for the rest of the
done?
show. And hey, y'all, peep out how he does this awesome pause at the perfect time.
Man, you gotta stop saying that. You're throwing me off every week you say that. You really are. Like I didn't even.
I know.
It's now a thing, but it wasn't supposed to be a thing. You jack me up every single time. Just let it.
Gee, I've noticed. I have noticed.
Just let it flow, Steve. Things have to be natural.
No, G. It's a gift you have, though. It's kind of weird.
I got a couple of gifts. One's a little bit lower. Oh, you know what I'm saying? All right, here we go.
Oh.
See, I didn't like that one either. Hold on, I'll do it to myself. Yeah, that was weak. We'll come back to it. Dick jokes are going to be good in just the next few minutes, but not right now. All right. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's bust this. Happy Black Friday, everybody. My name is Dan Ramirez, and I represent the team, the duo called Heroes of Noise with my buddy Steve Hudson. Check this out. There you go, Steve. If you want to get a hold of the show, hit us up at heroesofnoisepodcast@gmail.com. Ladies and gentlemen, I am not bullshitting with you. It's heroesofnoisepodcast@gmail.com. We're all over the internet. It's crazy. We're like a virus. Go to heroesofnoise.com. That's where you got to go right there. Just go there, and there you're going to find links to our Twitter page. If you want to hit me up personally, it's Dan Q Public. If you want to hit my buddy Steve up, it's at @SE_Hudson Music. As a group, a duo, the podcast, hit us up at Heroes of Noise. Now, that at Heroes of Noise carries over to Facebook as well. You can find us there guess what? At Heroes of Noise. But back to the webpage. While you're there, I would really appreciate it if you would leave us a voicemail and let us know how we're doing, because we miss you guys. It's been a while since we've had some dialogue with you, or at least your monologue. We want to play that on the show and let the people know how good you guys are. What else can you do? You can leave us a 5-star review for iTunes. Leave us a review on Stitcher. Subscribe pretty much everywhere except for Podbean for some reason. I can't figure that shit out. But Podbean seems like that's more like an Atari 2600 type of a thing. Correct me if I'm wrong. But you can hit us up at iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Pandora eventually. I don't know about when, but we'll get there. And other than that, there's one other thing I'm going to do, and I'm just going to turn this down real quick because I want to make sure this is the first time I'm doing it. Just a little concentration there. All right, so check this out. We are now what you call Amazon affiliates, okay, from the Amazon affiliate program through the podcast. So if you're looking to do some holiday shopping, do us a favor, all right? It's going to help us out. Go to the heroesofnoise.com. Click on the Amazon affiliate link. It's just an Amazon link. Sounds fancy, but it's just an Amazon link. And just do us a favor and make your purchases through that portal. Now, it's not going to be any more expensive to you. Listen to that. Hold on. Okay, I was off one. All right, so check this out. I was trying to be serious about this. Go to Amazon through our webpage. And what this is for, this is brand new to us here, because we get tired of... we don't really like to say, hey, go onto our PayPal and give us money. Because, I don't want to talk about it too much because it's going to take down the show. But what you do is you go to Amazon through our webpage and you just make your regular purchases, and it just gives us a little bump. Okay? It helps us pay for things like the RSS feed, what we call Libsyn, the webpage, things like that. We don't want to trouble you too much, so why not do that? It makes it very easily. Wouldn't you agree, Steve? It makes it pretty easy, right?
Absolutely.
And it's no cost to you. You're just doing us a favor because we're here for you every week and you love us and we love you. That's it. So, see, I probably could have done that all the way through the music, but you're fucking me up with that whole gap thing.
Gee, I did not, G. Now, so listen, people.
I feel wired on coffee today, man. Was that okay?
I see. Of course, I'm perfect.
Right. Good.
I love every single one of y'all. Every single one of the people that listen, I love you. I love everybody. However, there's one thing that y'all have to chill with doing. And it happened to me this week. It's oddly enough, it happened to me this week, and it really got me to thinking for about 3 hours off and on about how annoying this
So
is.
I've done something annoying?
You didn't do it.
Oh, okay.
People do it. But I'm sure you've done it. I've probably done it. So here's a normal thing. Hey, Steve, hey, you should come out to drinks with us. And I say, you know what? No, I'm not going to go. And what do they inevitably say?
Oh, what's your problem? You're not a friend?
Why not?
Oh, why not?
Why not?
Okay.
I'm not 4 years old. Why do I have to give you a reason why I'm not going to go? Because there's no good reason you're going to accept as a good enough reason. Nothing. Unless I say I'm sick. But the best reason and the most honest reason is the worst reason for you. I'd rather chill at home.
I don't want to hang out with you.
That's going to be offensive. Exactly. I want to chill tonight. That is the honest reason.
So what do you go with?
But the worst reason to give you. Exactly.
No, I mean, seriously, like what do you tell them?
I'm just like, I make up something.
So you lie.
But see, yes. But see, what it should be is you don't ask. It's none of your business why I don't want to go. It should just be no, unless I was 4 years old. Then you could ask me why I'm not going. Or if I had...
Like, who asks 4 years old out for drinks,
But you're treating me like a child.
I
now.
understand.
Why don't you want to go? Because the thing is, if I had small children, I get it. That's why you would ask saying, oh, do you need a baby?
It's a wonderful trump card, dude.
That.
It really is to have small kids and be like, it's just the kids. It gets you out of everything.
And if you ask me saying, oh, do you need babysitting? Well, that makes sense of why, because you're thinking, oh, maybe they need babysitting. But you cannot say, why not? Why not? Why do you need to know that? Just know that they said, no, I'm not going to go. And let it go. People, the why not has to go. If you ask somebody out somewhere and they say no, walk. Don't say, oh, why not? Because there's no good answer they can give you. And trust me, any answer they do give you is going to be either a lie or they're going to give you information that they didn't want to give you in the first place. Oh, well, I have the runs. They didn't want to say that.
I've got the hot shits. Sorry.
Exactly. They don't want to say this. So you're making them give you information because otherwise they would have been like, no, I have something else to do. No, I have the kids. No, they would have literally volunteered that information. So people, will you please chill with the why nots? If you ask somebody to go somewhere, the end. If they say no, done.
Now I'm going to give you the flip side though, man, just so you're aware, because I don't know how often this comes up. But as someone that did frequent being in social situations where we were going out and having drinks and things like that, the last 4 years of my life, that's all kind of been gone just because of how much work I was doing, right? So yes. I'll just warn you that if you continue to say, no, that's okay, I can't do it, they eventually stop asking, period. I feel like a hermit these days because I've lost a lot of my, I wouldn't say I've lost them, but they've stopped including me in things because I don't go anywhere anymore. And when I'm home and it used to be like, well, I'm home, let's go out, let's go do something. A lot of times it is, I just want to chill now. And so they won't ask you anymore. So just be aware of that.
You know what? The people that are going to ask are normally out of my circle. So I will be okay with that.
Your tight circle?
Yes, very. yes.
Your tight. What'd you say? Your tight grooved circle, I think, is what you said.
My groove. Yeah, man. I'm like, for you, like, you'll say if you ask me, hey, you should go. Yeah, I know you're probably. Here's how Dan asked me. I don't know if you're up for it, or I know you're probably busy, but would you want to go get some drinks or something like that? That's what you'll say, and I will offer you the reason why. And I'll be honest with Dan. Dan, I will not lie. I'll be like, I'm freaking comfortable right now. I'm chilling. And if Dan really wants me to go, he'll be like, oh, come on, I think this is a good idea. Okay, well, then I'll go. But if I don't offer that information, don't ask.
You'll just be honest and say, I'm not into that. You've said that before, too. Like I was asking you for, next week, comedian Jim Brewer's coming to town. Yeah, doing a little meet and greet. Exactly. I like Jim Brewer. He's not my favorite, but he's a hell of a storyteller. I was like, Steve, you want to come out with Gail and I go see Jim Brewer? He's like, nah, son, I don't even like Jim Brewer. And that's honest. So, I appreciate that.
And I'm always honest with that because Dan doesn't take offense. And if Dan takes offense, he'll tell me, you know what, dude, he'll have a talk with me. But I go, like with Dan, I'm going to go probably if I'm not doing anything because I know what it's going to mean to hang out with Dan. Some people, I don't know what it's going to mean to hang out with them. I know that it could either go one way or it can go the other way. Did they drink too much? Are we going to play? Dude, I was asked to play beer pong.
Is that an insult to you?
Well, I'm not like 12.
How many 12-year-olds do you know are playing beer pong?
I consider 12-year-olds like 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds. They're all in the same freaking group.
They're adorable, aren't they?
They're all, because when I see them around Fresno City, I'm just like, geez, you guys look young. But for me, I play for fun. It's, hey, I'll do it. But I'll walk away being like, oh, I don't ever have to do that again.
I can relate.
And so I would rather have here's my dream. Oh, people, you just unlocked something. Here's my dream that I don't know if this really happens. I'll be watching a movie, a civilized movie, because that's all I watch. I'll be watching a movie and they'll have a get together and you'll see people sitting on chairs with wine and walking around the house, and you'll zero in on one conversation. They're talking politics, another conversation, they're talking jazz, another they're talking, music, or some people's talking about the kids and they're out, that's my dream get together. But I don't think those actually happen, G. I've never been invited to one.
It was happening for me last night.
See, that's dope. Now, I'm saying other than family, though, like if you have a group of friends, is that happening? Are they with wine, walking around kind of talking about philosophy and stuff?
How will I put this?
Probably.
I think it's a certain demographic of people that do that. Yeah. I think it's out there.
Oh,
it's just not in your...
What's the demographic?
I don't know. I'm just, I don't know. It's not in your tight grooved circle. I know that.
That's not... But you will talk that.
I can talk whatever.
That's what I'm saying. But you will talk philosophy and you will talk ideas.
I don't know if I'll be talking philosophy. Like, I don't even really truly know. Like, I'll give you my philosophy.
Exactly. But you will talk about something other.
Not like talking about Socrates and shit like that.
No, but I'm saying we're not going to talk about how the freaking Cowboys are doing.
Well, that's
won't.
Sports talk, and I don't do that. And if you ever ask me to talk sports talk, I'm just going to tell you now, it ain't happening. Fuck off. I don't like it. I don't like the question, who's your team? I don't like it when when people call teams we. Oh, that's the worst, man. You know, that's a gripe. That's my, can I give you a pet peeve real quick?
Yeah, please. There we go.
All right, man.
Okay. All right.
Let me tell you motherfuckers right now. I hate that so much, man, when people are like, ooh, listen to that ring. That is a very long...
Yeah, that thing is just like, bing, bing.
That ring really rang out.
Yeah, the boxers are sitting in there. They're like, are we going
Shall I now?
Do we wait? Do we wait in our quarters till this thing stops?
Noted. Bring the volume down when I do that one. What is that about we? I hate sports talk so much. I hate it so much. Like, I don't mind sports. I don't have a team. I'm not a sports guy. But when you say, oh, we killed it, we won last night, you didn't do shit. You sat on your fat ass and you drank beer and you watched the thing. Baseball talk makes me insane. Like, I would rather watch two flies fuck than watch a baseball game. You know what I mean? Like, it is the worst. But it would be interesting, right? Baseball is not. Now, I know people are like, what? That's crazy. I hate this time of year when people start talking about the Dodgers and the Giants. People are so mean to each other. No, it's all in fun and rivalry. Yeah, but you sound like assholes on Facebook. You really do. I don't like it. So stop saying we, because you're not there doing that. You're just a spectator.
Is a better gripe.
I hate it.
Okay, here's the thing.
Stupid.
Here's what I'll say about sports talk. I don't say we. I always say my Lakers.
Oh, that's right. You are a sports guy a little bit, huh?
Yeah, but I'm only basketball. Only basketball. And the thing is, I won't say we though. The we thing I got over. I never said we, only because.
But you know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh, for sure. Be like, we are killing them. We are destroying. Yeah, we're getting Daz whatever. I can't even quote a football name. But for me, I think it's a game. Or no, here's what I think. And I might be wrong, but a lot of times it's when people have things that aren't going, or it gives you something to root for. Someone's winning on your behalf. It may not be you winning, but at least someone is winning for you. And it gives you a thought of, I am kind of winning. Because someone's
winning. I'm all for sportsmanship and I'm all for, it's not my thing. Even though I can appreciate it, I can go to a game and appreciate it. I'm all for that. It's just the whole we thing. And do you know what I'm talking about? That aggressive, it's all in fun. It's all in fun, but it's that aggressive attitude towards each other that I just don't like it, man.
Well, see, I think we're going to be careful about going to Johnny Bucks's neck of the woods because they take their football fairly seriously.
Yeah, I'll just be like, Johnny, dress me up. Dress me up.
Yeah,
tell me what to say and I'll say it. Just nudge me when I'm supposed to say that shit.
But also, one thing I don't understand there's two, other than, what's that thing that they kind of broom in front of it? They hit the thing on the ice and
curling?
They broom. Yeah, that's one of them. But curling, baseball, and hockey, I never will understand the fascination.
You know what? I'm going to take that back for a second. I actually enjoy hockey. Hockey's fun. You know why? Because people throw down on the ice.
But once in a great while.
I used to go, there was this team, I don't even think they're around anymore. It used to be called the Fresno Falcons. Do you remember that?
I think they are. I
thought it was the Monsters now. But anyway, I used to go to these all the time as a kid. They would throw down all the time. Like, it was expected. And there was rivalries amongst the teams. I don't remember any of these, but there was this one guy. I can't remember his name, but every time that dude came around, because my dad used to take me to hockey all the time, people just hated that guy. It was almost like wrestling, but real. You know, and these dudes would throw down. I enjoy that. I think that's pretty cool. Not the violence. Yeah, okay, it is the violence, actually.
I think hockey is not, I'll say it's not for a certain demographic.
Go ahead and say it. Go ahead, you racist bastard. Say it. Go ahead.
It's not for a certain, I'll walk into the stadium and be like, oh, there's a lot of red hats here. I got to get out.
I think you're off. I think you're off on that one.
Oh, damn.
You're off base.
That's not true. I am totally on
I'm just going to say
base.
what you're trying not to say. Do you think that black people don't like hockey?
I know black people don't like hockey.
Are you speaking for all black people? Have you really stepped up to that podium?
Most black people don't like hockey. It's just not our thing.
I need to see numbers, man. You've said it a couple times.
Okay.
You've used that "we" a couple times.
Here's what I'll tell you. Hockey
like sports.
Here's the thing. Hockey is, if you're going to compare black folks that like basketball, black folks that like football to black people that like hockey, I would say more black folks like golf than hockey. And tennis. I will go tennis too. Tennis than hockey.
Maybe black Americans.
And that is definitely our demographic now.
Black Americans, I think, is what you're getting at, bro. But I think if you had like black Canadians, they get down for their hockey.
I'm not buying it. First of all, Black Canadians is a strong word.
It's a great band name.
I think, okay, you know what? Since we got the time, I'm gonna say that there are not a lot of representations of black folks in Canada. If we're not talking about, we do have Drake, kind of, in a way, sorta.
Is he that?
We have Glenn Lewis. We have.
You already said more names than I know. I was just trying to provide a conversation.
Yeah, we don't have. That's not a big. I wish that we did. I wish we just, we are there. But black Canadians liking hockey, that still says black folks don't like hockey. Because I guarantee there's not a whole bunch of black Canadians. There are a few, but we don't make up a big percentage. And of that percentage, an even less percentage likes hockey.
I need numbers.
I'm telling you, bro.
I need numbers. This is just all babble coming out right now. I need numbers.
Hold on. I'm about to put black folks hockey.
Do black people like hockey? That's what you need to put. I'm going to cross-reference, too. I'm going to do it on my side and see what I can come up with.
They have the highest growth rate.
What?
What
does that even mean?
But that's it. Exactly.
Wow. I tried to type, do black people like hockey? And it was like, like, I'm the worst on my phone.
Oh, you know what? One great quote is, there aren't that many rinks in urban areas. That totally makes sense. When it's not afforded to you, it's not a thing that you watch. That makes sense.
How did I get... Dude, I'm the worst on my phone. Now it's like, do black people hickey?
Wow.
Do you like hickeys? Did you give hickeys when you were a teenager?
Hell no.
It's gross, huh?
I'm about to get racist. Now I'm not going to say
Man, you're on fire. So is this your post-Thanksgiving resolution that you're just going to be as racist as you can be, Steve?
No, here's the thing, though. I think that there's certain things...
I think you should go, hi, I'm Steve Hudson, racist.
I know it. I am the black person spoke. I don't think black folks do hickeys, G. When's the last time we seen a black dude with a hickey?
You got a point.
I tried.
You know what?
It's like when the last time
I'm going to go ahead and say it this time because you represent. I think it's a Mexican thing. Now, I'm Mexican, so don't trip out. Shut the fuck up. Don't at me. Y'all like to give hickeys a lot. And it's like a... What is a hickey? Like, what does it symbolize is what I'm wondering. Is that like ownership? That's what I think.
I think it is.
And the reason I say it is I've known several Mexican girls that are big on hickeys, and it's just like a marking the territory situation. But it just makes you look like you got AIDS on your neck.
It totally makes sense.
Terrible.
And it's okay. So I found the stat. 9% of African Americans are, like, from where they did it, they did it in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think you're making this up right now because you could just be reading the facts.
No. Check this out. In Chicago, the number of African Americans who identify them as very or somewhat interested. Wait, are the Hawks I thought the Hawks was Chicago Hawks are a hockey team, huh? I didn't know that.
This is why we don't have a sports podcast.
Okay, here it is. Okay, the number of things increased from 12% to 21% are interested in, right? Okay. And they said the people who watched a Hawks game on TV, listened to the radio, grew from 28% to 37%. This is in a black area. And now check this out. They made up 9% of Hawks fans in 2014, up from 7% in 2011. Now, compare that with NBA fans. 50% say that they watch the NBA.
And that's a given, though, because there's obviously a lot more basketball in urban areas. That makes, I understand what you're saying. But I was just, the whole point of my story was that, or my argument is that I think you just loosely went, we don't like hockey.
But I'm right,
I wanted to see numbers.
But like the numbers bear them out.
Well, you've given me numbers now, so I'll accept that. But you were just going off the cuff. And I refuse to believe off the cuff.
Bruh, I'm connected mentally with all. I had to go through my fucking mental situation.
You're the Borg or something? You just, we as a collective.
Turns out we don't like hockey. Had to put out the beacon.
We do not appreciate hockey. We, the Black collective of America, do not appreciate hockey.
You know what's funny? I actually am going to study this week because I want to know, because Serena and Venus definitely are killing in tennis. So I'm wondering if we like that, and then Tiger kind of was killing in golf. So I'm like, I bet you we like golf and tennis more than we like hockey. Because we don't have a representative, they probably are, and I just don't know them, but we don't have like a superstar around the world representative in hockey that makes us be like, ooh, hockey.
Type in most famous black hockey player. I don't even know if that's a good, search, but try that. And then we're going to get down to business, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry. Steve and I are catching up.
And then I could actually tweet him and be like, gee, what are you doing? That's what I should do.
Fucking Steve.
It says Dustin. What? Dustin Byfluglian.
That's a black name?
That's what I said. I think he's from another country. You ain't slick.
Dustin Byfluglian.
Right, okay, Jerome. He was born.
Now we're getting close. Now we're getting better.
There we go. Jerome Iginla Grant Fuhr. Wow. Oh, he was 1962.
They had to go that far back.
Gee.
I don't want to play hockey. Get in there and play hockey, but I don't want to.
Your last name, you can't play basketball.
Wayne,
we have a few. So apparently the most famous one is Grant Fuhr.
That is not a black name. Am I right?
Wait a minute. He was inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame in 2003.
Wow.
With 5 Stanley Cups. You know what, Doug?
Maybe you got to go back to the drawing board on this one, Steve.
Never mind. I don't see any other Hall of Famers. Dang it.
Let's change that.
We have one. Well, the thing is, normally we get in there and kill all sports. I think hockey is still one where we're kind of just like, ice and skates.
We'll get to it. I don't know about this. We'll get to it sooner or later.
I guarantee the first black folks that walk onto the curling court, they're gonna be like, "Dang, they even playing this?" Like, all right, we gotta figure out another sport. We're gonna do well in hockey. I think we're gonna do. I think
2019 is your year.
Maybe I should try. Maybe I should try hockey.
Why not? You do backflips and shit. You podcast. You juggle. You sing. You play piano. You're kind of a quadruple threat, I guess you could say. You do all kinds of shit. So why not try hockey?
Did I tell you I took up calligraphy?
Shut up. You didn't take up calligraphy.
I bought a fountain pen.
Yeah. You told me about the fountain pen, but you didn't tell me that you've taken up calligraphy. So what are you going to do? You're going to send a fucking sparrow to somebody?
No, what happens is they say if you take up something like that, when you write, you pay attention to what you're writing a lot more, and you start remembering what you're writing because you're focusing on what you're writing now. It makes a difference in your brain. It's not like you're just writing. You're actually focusing on what you're writing, making you think about what you're going to write.
Are you going to get yourself a candle and melt the wax and then put a stamp on it? And
I was thinking about it. I was thinking about getting that weird stamp thing that closes the envelope and starting everything with dearest whoever. Dearest Dan.
Dearest Dan. 'Tis been a fortnight since we've last seen each other. I fear we may not make it through the month, as the winter is cold, and cold as it ever has been.
I know. I Skyped Johnny Bucks, and Bucks was like, hey, what's up? I was like, yeah, I need you to do a voiceover for the letter I'm writing. He'll be like, wait, what? I'm like, can you voice over my letter, please? It makes it sound a lot more professional. Come on.
What was his? He hasn't said it for a while, because I haven't talked to Bucks for a while, but he used to hit us up with a...
Cheers.
Hello, chaps.
This is Johnny Bucks. I can't do Johnny Bucks. Johnny Bucks has a very stylish accent.
He got a deep voice. He talks like he's got big balls. You know what I mean? Know what I'm saying?
Oh.
Johnny Bucks. Big ball Johnny Bucks.
All right. We're going to get to it. But people, first of all, your pet peeve was a lot better than mine, dude.
Yeah, but it kind of fell flat. You know why? Because I'm looking at our content of what we need to do. So I sort of cut it back. Or maybe I just lost my fight. I'm not sure. But
it's a
I don't like it.
It was a good...
I'm just telling you, I don't like it.
I totally understand. I think mine was just a... now, I think I'm going to be real with people when they say, well, why not? I'm going to tell them, I don't need to tell you that. I'm just going to be honest. What do I have to lose? I'm 40, G. I should be able to just say, I don't have to tell you that.
Yeah, I'm a big, I subscribe to you get what you see. That's it.
I'm sorry?
Like, in other words, I don't, like what you're saying. I don't have to explain myself. This is me. You know me. Like, this, you get what you see. What you see is what you get, is what I'm trying to say. I'm sorry. I fucked that all up. But what you see is what you get. Like, this is me. I'm not Dan. It's not work Dan versus home Dan. Now it's just all kind of Dan, you know?
You know what else is part of Dan?
This third leg? Oh.
TV. Oh! What have you been watching, my friend? And if you guys have pet peeves, please send in the pet peeves and the explanation for the pet peeve. You got to tell me when it happened to you and what is your solution. We can't just do pet peeves and then say, anyway, that's something I hate. Tell me in a perfect world, what would you do? What would you have done instead? What would you like people to do instead of this pet peeve? We need to make this world a better place. And the way we do that is solutions to your pet peeves. But I really want to hear your pet peeves because you might get me mad secondhand. Mad. And I'll be mad on your behalf at people who have done that.
Steve's going to get all fired up.
I will, dude. You know how I get fired up on behalf of people. So please send in your pet peeves. I would love to hear them.
All right. So I'll get to what I'm talking about, man. I watched a movie, and I know you watched it too. This is a Netflix Blumhouse production, brother, and it is called Cam. Alice is an ambitious cam girl. She wakes up one day to discover she's been replaced on her show with an exact replica of herself. This movie was actually done, and I don't have the lady's name handy, but she was actually a sex worker. She actually did cam work, and she wrote this movie. So there's definitely going to be some. I've never watched Cam. I'm going to tell you right now, Cam girls, I should say. I'm no stranger to pornography. I'm a grown-ass man. I'm just letting you know. But cam work has never been my thing, so this is kind of new on me. But from what I understand, because she wrote this movie, there was a lot of genuineness to it. You know what I mean? So I'm curious, what's your take on Cam before I give mine?
I think Cam was an interesting movie because what it's doing, the premise is very smart. The premise is very, very, it's a very unique premise. Because I didn't know what it was about. I preferred not to see it. So when I started watching it, I was like, "Oh, this is interesting." And then when the identical thing that's on the screen, I was like, "Oh, well, this just got interesting," because I didn't know where it was going. And I think some people, if you have a chance, if you refer this movie, don't tell them where it's going because otherwise there's no shock to the twist. I don't even know why they put that in the description. Just have people watch the movie and be like, "Oh, crap. That was a twist." I thought the twist was interesting, but the execution of the twist I did not like. But the thing is, the theme was high enough for me to like it, though. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. But the execution of it, and even the ending, it didn't work for me. But it was enough for me to watch the whole movie because I was just like, hey, this is, again, I had never heard of a storyline like this. I'm like, what would I do if I looked on a screen and saw me? Like, what would be the following things I do? But I think that it's not a script. It might be, I don't know, but the execution of it throughout, once it happens, it's good. But then the third act just falls apart. Everything falls apart in the third act. Because when she figures out, when she looks at herself, her reaction is exactly the reaction that I would have. It was so good and so genuine. But then it just falls, the third act, they don't know exactly how to actually stick the landing at all. And so by the end, I was like, oh, man. Like, I was like, really? This?
Yeah.
Because it could have been really good.
Yeah.
But literally, I'm just like, I don't even know what happened. Like, I don't know why this worked for it to, like, at the end, I don't even know why the solution worked. I have no idea. I just was like, okay. But what I will say is Madeline Brewer was great. And I didn't know she was, I knew I recognized her, but I didn't know where from until when I was like, I looked up her IMDb. I was like, Handmaid's
Tale. That's
I was like, that's where and I didn't know because I was like, where have I seen her before? But I was like, oh, for the time I watched it, she was a big deal in the section that I watched. Watch it, if only just for her. She is committed. She is fully committed to this part. It just doesn't stick the landing for me. What about you?
By the way, first off, I want to say that it was written by Issa Mazzei, Mazzei. I just wanted to at least give props to the person that wrote the movie.
For sure.
I'm with you, dude. It was interesting to the point where it literally held my interest throughout the movie, right? I was able to watch the whole movie without turning it off. But I do think that it fell apart in the last act as well. It was kind of, it's based on ratings. Like I said, I don't check this kind of stuff out, on the internet, but it has to do a lot with your rating system and how far you rank. Maybe that's a better word, ranking, and her whole point is she wanted to be above 50 to begin with. And she does some pretty interesting things to make that happen. It's Netflix, so it's not necessarily pornographic, but you do see what they're alluding to the point where she's simulating suicide. So to see the lengths that she goes through to make these things happen, even to the point of like teaming up with somebody to really knock the number out of the park. And that's when all this starts to take place. The craziness, I should say. I found it very interesting. She had her regulars that would, I don't even know what you call, I'm sure there's like a term that you call these people that are like your regulars that go on there and request whatever you do on the cam. And then you have they give you tokens and whatnot for that. I found all of that very interesting. I found the characters that she was associating with very interesting too. And one of the guys that I'm talking about, I think he did a great job, even though he was a total freak. Patch Derek, I think his name is, and he plays a character called Tinker. Very creepy dude. He was like in love with her, I guess, and he moved to her area. And it's like he's not the key to the problem, but he's definitely in the know of what's going on. And
I still don't know how that. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say is that they try to put it out there. They almost say it directly, like this is what it is. And I still had trouble kind of locking on to what it was. I think that this movie was it was a nice first attempt. You know what I mean? At something like this for Blumhouse, because it is different than everything that I've seen Blumhouse put out so far. It's an original type of a movie, but like you said, I do think that it falls apart in the end. I think that I never really understood what was going on. You don't want to blow the end of it for people that haven't seen this movie yet, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, even watching the end, I don't know. I don't know why that worked. I don't know.
Yeah, it just sort of fell apart for me. And when it was over, I was just kind of like, okay. Put it this way: I've never been so wowed by a Blumhouse movie that I'm going to put it in the top movie of the year or anything like that. A better way of putting it is there's been some Blumhouse movies that I've very much enjoyed, and there's been some that I completely couldn't stand.
Yeah. Like Get Out is their star right now.
Right. Another great one was like Happy Death Day. I loved that movie. I loved the wit in that movie. I thought it was not only...
Yes, I loved that movie. That was great.
It had comedy and it was a thriller at the same time. But then you take a movie like... oh, God, I'm sorry. I'm blanking right now, but it's right on the tip of my Truth or Dare is what I'm looking at. And that movie was just god-awful.
Yes.
And if you enjoyed it, more power to you folks, but I just could not stand that movie. It's kind of like they took the best elements of a movie and the worst elements of the Blumhouse movies, and they just sort of put it together. And they said, let's just completely make this thing take a nosedive at the end. So do I think it's worth a watch? I think that's just completely up to what you enjoy in a movie. Don't take our word for it because we just have opinions, but I do think that we share the same opinion that this movie falls apart in the end. I'm going to go ahead and rate this movie right now, Steve. I think that I'm going to go ahead and give this movie 2.5 out of 5 tokens. It's just a movie. It exists.
I will go there. That's my rating. Yeah, that's my rating.
Yeah.
You know what? I would say for me, 2.5 on the other way, though. I would say it's worth a watch only for the premise. The premise is more, and Brewer, it's worth it only for the premise. And she's great. Brewer is great.
She does a fantastic job. There's a matter of fact, I will say one thing about it. There is a scene at the end where they get their gore on pretty well. Like there's some very good makeup art going on in this movie.
Yes, totally.
There's a part where, she faces the antagonist, we'll say that. And she has a little challenge with this antagonist. And it's the challenge is about who's going to do more. And Brewer does it, bro. Like that was good. Would you not agree with me? I know you know what I'm talking about. Would you not agree that the makeup was fantastic?
Yes, that's the part I didn't understand. Yeah, I just didn't understand why.
Yeah, I didn't either. And it just and even when it was explained, spelled out for me, I'm just like, okay, sure. If that's what you say.
But I will give it 2.5 for sure.
Yeah. But it's a take it or leave it kind of movie. But if you want to see something that's it's an original take on something, I recommend checking it out. But don't expect to be paid off in the end. I think that's a fair thing to say.
That's totally fair.
Yeah. So 2.5 out of 5 tokens, ladies and gentlemen.
And that leads me into another movie that tries to make use of the webcam thing. And I think he does it to an extraordinary degree.
Yeah, we're going to the opposite end of the spectrum now.
The opposite end of and they actually did a fantastic job with it. It's called Searching. Have you heard of Searching?
I have seen Searching, so yes, I have heard of it.
Oh, see, I was on The Late Show then.
Yeah.
Everyone's seen this movie because I've talked to other people about it. They're like, uh-huh. I was like, oh. I thought I was, kind of got a cool movie in the mail, and I thought I was kind of
you thought you were cutting edge, huh?
I really did, dude.
It's an older movie, so I think a lot of people have seen it already. But yeah, I checked it out. I'm gonna this is yours. Go for it.
Well, I would say what this does. Before I even start, I'm going to say that any filmmaker, this is one of those movies that you have to watch. And I think you only have to watch it because they do something so spectacular in this movie that is very hard to do. They make a whole movie from webcam. Not webcam, but pretty much webcam. Everything has to happen on the internet. Even the news clips on this movie are on the internet. And
similar to like Unfriended, wouldn't you say? I mean, as far as the premise of it or how it's laid out for you.
But on this person took it and exploded it now. Yeah. They're like, we're going to take what they did and make it correctly. And they actually, it's about John, everybody knows John Cho. And John Cho is a father of a daughter, and they're having conversations with each other online. And from this online conversation, he realizes that his daughter is missing. And that's all it is him going through what a father would go through in order to find his daughter. And they do it all from the viewpoint of online activities, which is in my brain, you can't do it. Because you just can't. Because you're like, well, then if you're not having conversations with people. How do you have conversations with people? And then you realize, oh, there's FaceTime. Oh, you can also use hidden video. I mean, they do so many different things in this movie that are just absolutely brilliant. I would also say that this movie falls apart a little bit in the third act, but not to the degree of Cam. There are still things that happen at the end that you're just like, okay. But throughout the movie, the fact that John Cho is able to do a character, there are no glitzy cameras. He's literally using a GoPro and he's acting into the GoPro. That is hard. There's no one to bounce off of, except for a few times he's actually in another room with someone else. And I think that only happens twice in the movie. Everything else, he's acting to a camera. And a matter of fact, one of the Deborah Messing's in this movie, and they actually did their scenes at different times from each other. So they weren't even interacting really, which is incredible to me because I couldn't tell. I could not tell, but I think Searching is a great movie for creatives, movie makers, I would even say writers who want to find out a different and very interesting way of telling a story. They even do this thing where you can tell what someone is thinking, or what someone is, oh, you know what, I shouldn't say that, because they type it and then they erase it. And I was like, well, that's a way to do that. I wouldn't have thought of doing that. Well, but it's a great, I thought, at the end of the movie, regardless of its little glitches at the end, I was like, now that's a movie. I really, really, really enjoyed this movie. And especially, they did a very Up thing in the first 5 minutes of this movie. It was like Up. They kind of took you through the life of certain characters in just a few minutes. And I'm not going to tell you how they did it, but when you watch it, they do this all on computer. And it's brilliant, in my opinion. What did you think?
I'm right there with you, man. I don't necessarily think that it fell apart in the last act like the other one did. I think that this was just something that I haven't seen Unfriended. So it puts a benchmark of where these kind of movies should be. I think that it was very well executed. I think I really just enjoyed the whole story. I loved John Cho's sense of desperation in this movie and how hard he went to try and make this happen. I love the way that it lays out and how you sort of find things out as the movie goes along. You know, you find out that he hasn't been getting the whole story. He's completely oblivious to what's really been going on in this movie.
Which, as a parent, makes total sense.
Right.
Because we know only so much.
Yeah.
But it's not until you dig, because I'm sure if I dug into my son's life, I'd be like, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. So it's very interesting.
Yeah. I mean, there's just things that we as human beings don't tell everyone. You know, and he had, and as a father particularly, he had to find this all out. And it wasn't anything too crazy, but it was just like she was living a life that he didn't even realize was going on. But yeah, I liked it. I honestly, when I saw the preview, I didn't think that it was going to be something that would truly work. Going back to when we went to Hollywood Horror Nights, I was trying to figure out why they would do an unfriended maze. It really didn't make sense to me, and I still have yet to see that movie. But this was it just worked for me, like the entire thing. I'm not even the biggest John Cho fan. It took me a long time to get over his whole MILF thing, you know what I mean, from American Pie. Yeah. But he's turning out to be a fantastic actor. And he just pulls this one off all the way, man. I was highly entertained the entire time. I liked Deborah Messing's character. The way that everything turns out at the end was, I guess you could say, a little bit on the cliche side. If you really had to, like, they went to page 76 of horror movie endings, and they said, let's do that. But
that was my problem.
Yeah, but I don't think it was so bad that it was worth knocking. Just me personally.
Oh, no.
I think that it worked just fine for the type of movie that it actually was. So, yeah. So, you know, by all means, I do recommend going to check this movie out. I think it's highly entertaining. You don't have to go and check it out. Just rent it now because it's out of the theaters. It's been out of the theaters for a while. If you guys haven't caught on yet, this isn't the show where we're talking about every single new movie that's coming out. We watch things and we talk about them. And this is what we did. And yeah, so I highly recommend it, man. Are you ready for a rating system on this one?
I'm going to do, since this mostly, because it happens, most of it is shot from the viewpoint of the most awesome computer ever made to mankind. I will give it, oh man, because I liked it. Make no mistake, I really like this movie. The ending didn't work for me. You know how I am with sticking the landing.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it, I'm going to give it 3 apples. Yeah, 3.
3 apples. Oh, gotcha. Okay. I think you're going like for max or something, but I understand what you're saying. Okay, 3 apples it is. I think I'm right along there with you, man. I'm going to go ahead and give it 3 apples. I don't like that, dude. I don't like that one. Can we call it MacBooks instead?
3 MacBooks.
Who gives a shit, right?
You really don't, yeah, for real.
no one gives a shit. Steve's like, call it whatever the fuck you want. No one really cares. Yeah. It's fucking sure. 3 apples it is, man. 3 apples. Yeah. I'm right along with you. Because it's highly entertaining. Yes. But it's not the best thing I've ever seen. But again, much like the movie that we just talked about, it's laid out to me personally as something that I had never seen before. And I can see that I think that Cam totally took the cues from this one. I think obviously Unfriended should get the credit for doing something like this first, but I don't think that it left nearly the mark that this movie left. And of course, Cam just doesn't compare to this one. So as far as these type of movies go, this is the one.
Oh, totally. And there were a few reaches. They had to reach where it's just like, would that ever happen? It doesn't matter. You have to suspend your disbelief. Just enjoy it.
If you spend your time breaking down a movie that like while you're watching it, this wouldn't happen, this wouldn't happen. What's the point of even watching the movie in the first place?
And I never even did it. There is not one part where I said that wouldn't. The whole time I was like, I'm in. And like I said, the only glitch was a part where I'm like, hey, you should have. There could have been a super dark ending that should have happened. I think the super dark ending should have happened. Super dark. Go dark, man. This is real life.
Yeah, I'll even agree with you on that too, man. Like with that, I've talked to a couple of people that are like, you never say what goes on in the movie. This isn't what we're trying to do. We're just trying to tell you, did we like it? Did we not like it? Should you check it out or shouldn't you? So if you want to find out what we're talking about, watch the damn movie. But I can see that too. I think that if I had my druthers, if I was the writing person if I wrote this movie, I think that I would have gone with the darker ending myself. Because, that's what these movies are. Yeah, everything shouldn't be a happy ending all the time. And I'm saying that as a father.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, yeah, true.
You know what I'm saying?
Damn. Yeah.
I'm trying to take my parental element out of this whole thing, and just as a viewer, I think that I agree with you that it should have gone dark.
Yes. So yes, but I would. The thing is, if it was on, here's the funny thing about this movie: I would never watch it again.
Next up, this isn't anything that I have been watching.
Oh, you know what? We're skipping Walking Dead. I've decided I'm not gonna talk about that.
Oh, good, because I fucking hate that show.
Because everybody that's watching it watches it. It's great now, but everyone that's gonna be watching it is gonna watch it. No one's gonna. If people dropped off, they're done with it.
I mean, that's the thing. I shouldn't judge it now because I haven't seen it in the last 2 seasons. But that show,
it is incredible.
It bored me so much that I just don't want to go back to it anymore. And I got to be honest with you, I cannot stand Carol. I can't. And I'm not even a big fan of Daryl, to be honest with you. It's just not my show. So as opposed to like bagging on it, because I know there are people out there that love it. I mean, they have freaking conventions about it.
Well, there's a new showrunner. This woman named Angela Yang. She is a destruction zone. Like, she doesn't let things go like, there's a new bad guy. It gets killed within one episode. You're like, oh. She's like, yeah, we're not messing around. Either you're going to make it or you're not going to make it in the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah. To be fair, to be fair, I've heard a lot of people say that exactly what you just said, that it's better now. Ooh. I hear, and again, I've lost track of the names, but I guess Rick Grimes' daughter is really good in it now.
Oh, she's dude. And Michonne is, Anyway, let's go on. Let's move forward.
But not a Walking Dead fan, so, watch it or don't. Okay. I don't care. Now, this is something that I can't really talk too much about for a couple of different reasons, okay? First of all, I'm not a huge video game guy anymore. I used to like them, but when I started working, I just really lost. I just couldn't focus on these games, because if I get into a game, I am going to play the shit out of this thing, and I'll probably end up just ignoring everything around me. I try not to do that. That's a policy of mine. I try not to do that. That said, I just picked up Red Dead Redemption 2. And again, as someone that doesn't game a lot, I have fallen in love with this game. I've only got to play it a few times so far, man. And let me tell you what, as someone that doesn't play a lot, there is a learning curve with this one. Another thing I will say is I'm getting old, man, because I don't know if you've noticed this or not, or where you sit when you're playing a game. But why can't you have a setting where you can make the instructions a little bit bigger on the screen? Do you know what I'm talking about? Like when it's like, it'll tell you like press L2, press L, whatever, R1. I can't see that shit. I had to literally, dude, I'm serious. I had glasses on. I'm telling you the truth, man. I went to settings and I tried to you can change everything but that. So maybe I'm just saying, maybe my reviews is I'm just an old man now. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys.
Yeah. I mean,
but in my defense, I've been blind as a bat since the 4th grade. So that said,
we're both blind.
But to get, I'm not even going to go off on that because it's more of like it felt like I was getting into Seinfeld territory or something like that. Red Dead Redemption 2, ladies and gentlemen, is fantastic. I found myself completely lost in this game. Not lost as in I don't know what I'm doing, but just the world kind of just disappeared around me, man. And it's got such a fantastic script. You know what? Let me talk about this a little bit real quick here. So I'm going to break this one down for you, or at least give you what this game's about. So America, 1899. The end of the Wild West era has begun as lawmen hunt down the last remaining outlaw gangs. Those who will not surrender or succumb are killed. After a robbery goes badly wrong in the western town of Blackwater, Arthur Morgan, that's the character in this game, and the Vanderlyn gang are forced to flee. With federal agents and the best bounty hunters in the nation massing on their hills, the gang must rob, steal, and fight their way across the rugged heartland of America in order to survive. As deepening internal divisions threaten to tear the gang apart, Arthur must make a choice between his own ideals and loyalty to the gang who raised him. From the creators of Grand Theft Auto 5, I was going to actually bring that up, and Red Dead Redemption. Red Dead Redemption 2 is an epic tale of life in America at the dawn of a modern age. Out now on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One systems, people. Go out and get it right now. It's so much fun, man. Now, what's cool, what I like about this game, did you ever play the first one, first of all?
I played the zombie version.
The zombie version. I heard that's cool. I did not play that one. I love how you can, it's almost a choose your own adventure at some point. Like, you have a storyline that you follow. And anyone that's like a real gamer, you're just going to laugh at my review because you can tell that I don't play a lot of video games. But I love that it's like a choose your own adventure kind of a situation. You know, like as you go through the storyline and you start getting more missions and things like that, it's really up to you how you handle that. You come into situations where it's like, you know, you have someone cornered. You can question them, or you can just kill them. You know, you can be merciless or you can be merciful. And that really leads your character as far as honor goes or infamy goes. The choices that you make, you know, you can be walking through a town. I accidentally stole some biscuits out of this dude's tent, and I got chased by the feds, by the po, man. And it's kind of scary because you got to haul ass. You got to get on a horse and haul ass, and you see like this red. The red will indicate like how close they are to you and how wanted you are. And because I don't play these games a lot, it had my heart pumping. And I really didn't have that kind of experience with the game until I was going to say like Grand Theft Auto 5 or any of the Grand Theft Auto games for that matter, because I used to play those a lot. I like that intense feeling that you get and how you can sort of just make this open world game work for you. And you can sort of, you know, you have missions that you have to complete, but it's up to you on how you complete them. And it's up to you how the game's going to end from what I understand. I have to get back to this game. It's been kind of a busy, crazy holiday shuffle week. And another reason why we didn't get this show out to you sooner. But it's fantastic, man. And I know that you have a game that I loaned you a while back, but if you're interested, I'm happy to loan this one to you once I'm done with it.
I'm stuck on that game, G. I'm in love with the game you lent me. I am in love. But anyway, dude, what you're saying is pretty much the universal opinion. So I'm very eager to check it out one day. I'm very eager to check it out. I
won't BS anybody. I'm not the guy that's going to talk games. Matter of fact, let me give a plug to my friend Sean, our friend Sean of the Horribly Awkward podcast. If you want to talk about games and get good reviews and things like that, go to Horribly Awkward podcast. He's got a great show, and he talks games all the time, and this dude knows what the hell he's talking about. Another one is Attention Deficit Order Radio. These guys know what the hell they're talking about, and they talk video games very... you can tell that they're not bullshitting you because they play them all the time. I'm just telling you from a layman's point of view, as someone that jumped into the video game and said, you know what, I'm like you say, Steve, you want to be in the conversation. I got into this game to be in the conversation, and I ended up just being so much into the game that I don't really want to put it down. I'm sort of afraid to pick it back up again because I get so into it.
That is
but I give this one, you know what, I'm going to give this one, as far, again, you know, this is a layman's rating, but I am going to give this one 5 out of 5 pistols, sir, because it is a fantastic game.
That is Red Dead Redemption 2, or, you know, as I like to call it, the game that I'm going to be buying in the next week.
You don't have to, brother, because, if you're going to buy it the next week, yeah, then you're on your own.
Yes.
You're on your own, sir.
All right, so this next one that we're going to be talking about is a movie that I really can't say a whole lot about because everything I say could possibly be a spoiler. The way that he wrote it is that way. And I've heard a few people review this movie, and I'm just like, you shouldn't have said that. You shouldn't have said that. Why did you say that? Because there are very important things that you should not know. Would you agree, Dan?
Yeah, for sure. I think that if we were going to do that, we would definitely put a spoiler warning on this one, and this isn't the show for it. Dude. I think we should do those spoilery shows. Like, we've done those before. We have Avengers and things like that we've done. But yeah, this one is not a spoiler. We're just going to talk about it.
All right, here's what I'll say. This is Widows, directed by Steve McQueen, who I love his stuff, with Viola Davis. And the funny thing is, a lot of these people I had never seen before. A few, not a lot. A few of them I have not seen before, but apparently I was the only one who had never seen a few of these people. But as we know, Viola Davis, Liam Neeson. I had never seen Elizabeth Debicki before. Other people have. I have never seen her. Obviously, Michelle Rodriguez, who's dope. And we're going to go Daniel Kaluuya, Colin Farrell, Cynthia Erivo, and my boy, Brian Tyree Henry. Now, this movie, you know the theme. The theme is... pretty much these are widows. Their husbands or boyfriends or significant others were thieves. The thieves owe someone money. Now it falls to them. They have to put together some sort of plan to, a heist to steal this money back.
This is a heist movie for sure.
Yes. Now, that's not the big part of this movie, people. Before you go into this movie, know that the heist isn't the big part. The big part is the interpersonal drama that's happening between Colin Farrell, who is a politician, and Brian Tyree Henry, who is running against him. We're talking about Viola Davis and the rest of the women who are putting together this heist. Viola Davis and Brian Tyree Henry, Daniel Kaluuya, and it's a interpersonal thing with all these different people that are happening. The heist comes in later, but just much like Ocean's 11, the heist isn't the massive piece of this movie. The massive piece of this movie is what happens before and after the heist.
The assembly
because
of the heist team.
Yes, exactly. I loved this movie only because I think that this showed that it didn't show people that already knew, but it really gave Viola Davis a chance to show that she could lead not only a movie, but a movie that consists of Liam Neeson, Robert Duvall, and Colin Farrell, and Daniel Kaluuya, and Brian Michael Henry or Tyree Henry. Like, we're talking about some actors. She is saying, no, I can still pull this movie along. I can move this movie and we can center this movie around me, even though the other people are in this movie. Now, don't get me wrong, Robert Duvall with his few scenes is amazing. We remember, that's Robert Duvall. That's why he's who he is. But I would say that this movie is such a good peek into what would happen if something like this does occur. If something in the underbellies of society happens like this, and these women have to get together, they did not pull any punches with how they would have to start getting along, regardless of how much they don't really vibe. They're like, we have a means to an end. The only reason I'm dealing with you is a means to an end, but we have to work together as a unit to make this thing happen. I loved it. I loved it more than I thought I'd have any business loving it, but I absolutely loved it. What did you think?
So I'm right along with you. I think it is a fantastic cast. I think that it actually made me see a few people that I don't normally care for. Actually, not just a few. I'm just going to say one. I am not a fan of Michelle Rodriguez. And really never have been. I think that it's just a certain character that she plays over and over and over again that kind of turned me off from her. I'm not a fan of the Fast and Furious movies or anything like that. But I will say that I really enjoyed her performance in this movie. I don't think she's a standout, but I did enjoy her performance. And that's saying something for someone that does not care for Michelle Rodriguez. But yeah, the cast is phenomenal. I liked this movie a lot. I'm not sure I liked it as much as you did. The movie times out at I think it's like 2 hours and 9 minutes. And to me, it felt like it dragged a little bit, but when it hits hard. And I think that the standouts in this movie, definitely Daniel Kaluuya and also Elizabeth Debicki. I thought she was absolutely phenomenal. I'm not familiar with her work prior to this, but I think we're going to see a lot from her. She's a tall drink of water, wouldn't you say, Steve? Like, she's tall
compared to everyone else. She is. I don't know. I never saw her life. She is.
Yeah, there was no point where I would see her standing next to Liam Neeson, who strikes me as a tall person, but she is, what do you think? Yes. She's like 5'11"? Easy 5'11", something like that? Easy. I'm just guessing.
Easy.
But,
flat-footed.
She's phenomenal. She plays, I think her sense of desperation in this movie played out better than pretty much everyone else because of the lengths that she took to just survive. These people have these husbands. They don't really know. They tend to stay out of their lives, and they know they're up to something that's not necessarily on the level, but they stay out of their lives, and they've just been living this comfortable life because of, their husbands taking care of them, being completely oblivious to what they're doing. And I think when the shit hits the fan, I think she's the one that takes the most risk. Don't get me wrong. We have Veronica, played by Viola Davis, she has the most pressure because she's, the bad guys are cornering her. And she's the one that has to put this whole thing together. But for some reason, I really felt for Elizabeth Debicki's character, Alice, in this movie. And I think she was awesome. Now, as far as what I was saying about it runs a little bit long, I just think that there was just certain times where it dragged a little bit, particularly in the Colin Farrell situation. He plays Jack Mulligan. I don't know what it was, man. I think that... I think he was great. I think that Robert Duvall was fantastic. Their dynamic as father and son were great in this one. But for whatever reason, I don't know if it was just the political aspect of it. I could have done without the political aspect of this movie and just gone with the straight grit of it, the underworld shit,
Uh-huh.
because it was freaking fantastic. Brian Tyree Henry was amazing. I think that I have not given him enough credit because I associate him with Atlanta, and this is not Paperboy in this movie. He's beyond Paperboy in this movie. He proves that he can do things beyond Paperboy. The other thing, and I think this is going to be a little bit controversial too, is Daniel Kaluuya's character. Because, okay, let me tell you what I think about Daniel Kaluuya. I think that he's a fine actor, but you can totally disagree with me on this part. I feel he's a very monotone actor. You take Get Out, even if you take like Black Panther, he's still very just monotone with this. And he's still monotone in this movie, but there is something that he does in this one that puts the fear God into you, man. He's evil.
Jesus.
He's fucking evil in this movie, man. There's a scene that I won't get into in detail, but it has to do with a guy in a wheelchair. And also another scene that has to do with these two, they're his thugs, if you will, his minions. And they're not where they're supposed to be. They get caught fucking off, literally sitting in a dumpster rapping. One's beatboxing, the other one's rapping when they should be doing something else, and they get caught in this. And Daniel Kaluuya's character makes them perform. Once he finds out what they've been doing, he basically puts them right in front of him and says, do what you were just doing. And he puts a stare on these guys like I've never seen. Like, it is some of the most intimidating shit that I've ever seen. And then, of course, the scene that I'm talking about with the guy in the wheelchair, just vicious. And I didn't really know that he could play vicious that way. I don't know. I think you share a different opinion as far as his acting skill, but I think that he hasn't really shown what he's capable of yet. And if he has, then that might be it. Does that make sense to you? Do you think, like, what do you think?
I totally get it. I think he did the thing is, I think he did I think he did what he was supposed to do. Like, I don't think any other, like, can you hear me?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. In Get Out, I think that was that was what he was supposed to do. And then the next one, I was like, okay, Black Panther, I thought he was way less. But again, I could see what you're saying. I could see how he has a general vibe within, like, if you put 10 and 0, he's at a 5-6.
Pretty much all the time.
And all of his characters. Exactly. And I think a good thing for him to do is doing an action movie. I think an action movie would actually show us, what can you do? Show us what you can do, because an action movie forces you, unless you're playing Bond, it forces you to kind of be out of your comfort zone. Or, no, let me change that, because that is Tom Cruise's comfort zone. It forces him to do something different than he's already done. But I thought in this specific movie, it used his monotone acting perfectly. I mean, it was perfect.
I don't think that they could have gotten anyone better to play that particular role. And
see, I wouldn't have thought that before it. I wouldn't have thought that before this movie. Yeah. I would have been like, there are other brutal people you can get.
Like I said, it's probably a little bit controversial, like I'm saying, but I don't know. I haven't, even though I think he's a fine actor. I loved Get Out. I've loved everything that he's been in so far. And a lot of the times it really doesn't have to necessarily do with him. I don't think that even though he was the star of the movie in Get Out, personally, this is just my personal opinion, I don't think he was the one that brought the most fire to the movie. I felt for him. I knew, the story that was surrounded him was fantastic, but I just was like, okay, he's fine. He's got these eyes. It's like his eyes. You know what I mean? Like, his eyes seem to be the star of the show every time that I see him. But in this one, this is the first time that I really like I got down with the character. I hated him. You know what I mean? He was a terrible, terrible person.
He was a terrible... Yeah. And the thing is, I almost felt for, like, when he had those people in the dumpster, and it was like, you guys are the reason that those guys did that heist, and our money's gone. I was like, well, yeah, they should be punished. But then when I saw what was about to happen, I was like, oh, no. Oh, this is going to turn out horrifically. Like, I don't think that this should happen, though. This is horrible, man.
He does that thing.
He takes it to a next level.
Yeah. He does that thing that you see in a lot of movies where it's like, no, everything's cool. We're all fine. But just, like I said, show me, how can I put it? He plays that, like, you're going to be okay character. Everything's fine. Don't worry about it. No problem. And then he just completely annihilates people. Yes. You've seen this a lot in movies, but he does it so well in this one here.
There's no, here's what it is. If he became a cop, he would be Alonzo from Training Day.
There you go.
If he decided to go into the police force, that's who he's that guy. Boom. That's him. Where he's just real chill. He's like, come on, he's Alonzo earlier in life. And he decided to be like, I'm going to go in the police force.
Another thing about this movie is I think that John Bernthal was kind of wasted. You see him once, and it's like, okay, we got John Bernthal, but why did we waste him? That's what I think. I think I really like his intensity too, and I just felt like it just wasn't there. Like he was just there for star power. But again, I think Elizabeth Debicki kind of kills it on this one, man. I really liked her struggle. There's a part in the movie where she is at a gun show. I'm not going to get into why, but she's at a gun show and she plays she puts on a Russian accent and she has to manipulate this one person to do a certain thing for her. And the way that she pulls that off is amazing. Another person that I thought did a great job in this movie was Lucas Haas. He just sort of popped out and he doesn't really do anything spectacular. And what I mean by that is he's not a huge key element to the story, but it was enjoyable to see him, and I thought he did a great job too. And I like the dynamic that those two have. There are a lot of characters in this movie that are just sort of like, oh, okay, well, I think we got you for star power. But on the whole, I think this movie was really good. And I'll be honest with you, I think I need to watch it again for not because I didn't grasp the movie. It's because I had a shitty theater, Steve. Like when I went in,
that'll ruin a movie. Yeah,
I went in. I saw this movie by myself. It was like 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and I think, okay, this is the perfect time to go check out a movie like this. And when I got in there, I was like, oh, there's kind of a lot of people in here. But I'm a back row guy. I went to the back row. I had the row to myself. I thought, okay, everything's cool. Lights go out. Suddenly, everyone starts making yes, exactly, wrong. Big time wrong. Everyone starts making their way in, and now I went to a theater where this is kind of like the standard. But I was just hoping that this wouldn't be the case this time. And Broadway Fair, you blew it again for me. But
oh, gee, what do you?
Because it was close to my house, it was the showing that I needed to see. What you guys don't know is we were going to record that day, and some shit came up, and I wasn't able to do it. But that's why I went at that particular time at that particular theater. Yeah. And this guy comes up. I passed him in the parking lot, and he just seemed kind of sketchy, and he was out there having a cigarette. No big deal about the cigarette, but he just seemed sketchy. There was just something about him that. I get that vibe real quick if someone's sketchy. So I walk right past him. I didn't give it another thought. Who comes and sits right next to me in the back row? Not literally right next to me, but like one seat away. The whole row is free, but this guy wants to sit just one seat away from me. And I was fine. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, it's not my theater. You can sit wherever you want. He's sitting there. He's fine. I'm like, oh, maybe he's not sketchy. The lights go out. The trailers happen. Nothing. Everything's cool. As soon as the movie starts, his feet start tapping. And like, I'm sure you've sat next to someone where they do the knee thing and it's like shaking your seat. You know what I'm talking about?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay, fine. I can sometimes deal with that. But this dude was literally like.
So like me during a podcast.
Yeah, pretty much like you in the podcast. And see, you always get the innocent side of this here because you mute yourself. You throw me. But. You know what? I'm going to go back for just a second because the last week we had to record. We had a weird recording error, so it was all on one track, which is not the norm. Do you know how many taps, coughs, sniffs, and there's this sound you make? I don't even know. You tell me what this is. You go like this. I hear it every time we record. You'll be like, yeah. And what are you dropping on the?
Hold on, let me see. Oh no! What that is my coffee cup.
Are you slamming?
I'm putting my coffee cup. I have two cups. I have one with the concoction, one with the coffee cup, and I go back and forth. So it will be like this.
Yeah, I have three co-hosts.
I take a drink, and then I do this.
I have three co-hosts. It's Steve. That's it. That's the sound. The coffee. I have Steve, the coffee cup, and his squeaky-ass chair are my co-hosts for this show every time. But I'm not going to bag on you, dude.
Yes.
I'm not going to bag on you.
But here's the thing. To go back.
Yeah.
You know what I think it is about John Bernthal?
What's that?
I think it was one of those things where something happens where you don't know who's around the next corner. And since all of them are named actors, any of them could be. You don't, because if it was a nobodies, you're thinking, oh, we may see them later on, we may not. But when they're all named, you never know. Because you're like, do you think they're around the next corner? Maybe one of them are. That's what I was always wondering. I was like, oh, no. That person's going to be back around. He didn't drive away and never coming back. He's going to come back for sure. And I think that's what he did. He's like, now you don't know who might do whatever. You never know. That's what I thought. Because Bernthal's a name. He's a name. He's not just a nobody. Not saying the other actors are. If you're listening, other actors, you guys are somebodies too. I'm just saying Bernthal.
I hear what you're saying, dude, but I just feel, for whatever reason, I just felt like he was a wasted character. I would have liked to have seen more from him, But it is
Totally
what it is. The other thing about this movie, and I don't know how you feel about this part. I kind of saw the twist coming. And a lot of people in the theater were like, "Oh shit!" But to me, it just was like, "Oh, this is what's going to happen." So even though that's the case, I still really enjoyed this movie. But getting back to the theater real quick was that we had Tappity Tap guy that was next to me, and it was so bad that I wasn't even going to bother. Like I knew that because the way I saw this dude like acting in the parking lot, I knew that it was going to be a waste of time to be like, "Excuse me, can you stop tapping your feet?" It wouldn't have done anything. And he probably would have went, "Sure." And then went right back to tapping around. So what I did was I actually removed myself from the situation and went to the opposite end of the theater. So I was like in that first row, which was fine. Actually, it wasn't that bad at all. But I'm sitting there and I'm trying to watch this movie. And I had this old couple behind me, elderly couple, I should say. And it was it was the guy every few seconds. "What did he say? What did he say?" And then the wife he said this, explaining it to him. So it really took me out of the movie. So I feel like I should watch it again and I think I'll get a better sense of how much I really liked this movie. That said, I think it's fine. I think that people should watch this. And you're right, man. Viola Davis just fucking smashes it in this movie. She smashes it in this movie. And she does prove that she's a fantastic lead.
Yeah, it's over. Especially since Fences, I should not be shocked at all at what she can do anymore. It's over.
Oh, man. You're going to have to help me on there. Hold on. Let me try and find her name real quick because I am not giving props to someone who I thought was really, really, really good in this movie.
I know who you're
What
thinking.
is her name? Because she will kick your ass. What is her name?
I mean, yours.
Get out of here. She kick your ass too. What is her name?
You are out of your daggone mind, G. Cynthia Erivo.
Yep, that's the one. I know she was in Bad Times at the El Royale. She was in Step that came out in 2017. She was in Harriet that's coming out. Well, she is going to be in Harriet that comes out in 2019. She's a force to be reckoned with. Like, I don't really have that much familiarity with her, but that is a specimen of a woman right there. And I'm not saying, oh, she's gorgeous or anything. I'm just talking about she's a physically fit beast of a woman, man. And I loved her character. I loved how when shit goes down and she's getting recruited for this and she goes face to face with Viola Davis and Viola Davis is trying to like punk her and she's like, "No, you don't talk to me like that." I think she was a huge part of this movie that made it really pop for me, particularly in the heist situation. And
totally.
Yeah, I think that, she sort of went under the radar when they were promoting people for this movie. But quite honestly, she was probably one of my favorite characters.
It was, and the thing is, Steve McQueen's so smart because I knew when she walked in, the way Viola talked to the other women is not a way you're going to talk to her. I knew as soon as she walked in, I said,
she carries herself that way.
This is not going to go well. Yes. And, when she started getting all crazy, Cynthia was just like, "Oh, anyway, y'all, there's one part where she just says, and you're going to have to stop. You're going to have to watch the way you talk to me."
Yeah.
That was the most realist. You're going to have to watch how you talk to me. That I'm just like, bro, that wasn't even let me act this out. It was like, oh, she said this before.
Yeah. And
it's like for real. I love it.
And it was like one of the only times out of that particular set of characters where Viola had to step back and be like, "Oh,
exactly.
Okay, I will stop talking to you that way." Yeah. Like I'm not, because that's the thing. She had to put herself in a position to where she's the leader of this team, but she's not a villain. Yes. She's not a thug. She's not a mastermind. She just had to do this.
She's not from that life.
Because, she's not from that life. She removed herself so much from that, but she was forced to do this, and she had 1 month to get her shit together. She had to take on this character.
Bingo. And Michelle, being from that life, she smelled it on Cynthia.
Yeah.
She knew, oh, wait, I think we're from the same place. And then there was a very important quote, and it's not going to ruin it for anybody, where Brian Tyree Henry looked at Viola Davis and said, "Welcome back." Like, oh, you're not who you were. Welcome back down to earth. You're one of us again. Yeah. Oh, I loved it, man. I loved that quote where it's just like, oh, this whole time you were living a different life and you forgot who you look like. Welcome back. It was just great. And man, there's a scene between her and Brian Tyree that is just like, oh my God.
That disturbed me, man.
So good.
With the dog?
I knew you would get disturbed by that.
I did not like that at all, man. Cute little pooch.
I'm very interested in what you're going to rate this. I'm very curious now.
I liked it. It was good. But based on my ratings that I've given so far today, I'm going to go ahead and give this movie 3 out of 5 money bags, sir.
Good, great. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 3.5. It was Yes, it was good.
3.5.
It was a good movie. I would suggest everyone watching it. And it's oddly enough, as I'm thinking about it, it's tough because this year has been, for me, really good with movies. Like, I have a lot of great movies on my list. And so I'll give this a 3.5. I walked out with some questions. There were things that could have been improved. There are things that I would have liked to see. But overall, Steve McQueen knocks it out of the park yet again. I really like this movie. And I look forward to see what he's going to do next, man.
I like that you accidentally said Steve McKing as opposed to Steve McQueen. That's a very macho thing.
That's my toxic masculinity coming out.
Seriously, man. Turn the testosterone down a little bit, buddy. Yeah. No, honestly, I think my rating really comes from pacing for me. Just that's it. It wasn't anything. It had nothing to do with the performances of the actors. It was just a pacing thing for me. And again, possibly just taken out of the movie because of these fools that were in the movie theater.
What else you got, homie? Yes.
Know what I'm saying?
I thought you were going somewhere else. You're like, I normally do the anyway and on to the next. I was like, oh, he's not going to do as a damn thing.
Nah, that's all I got. That's all I got so far. All right. Are you sure you're ready for this, sir?
I am.
All right, man. You freaking asked for it.
Oh, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, there are a few things in life that I enjoy more than Rocky movies. The Rocky saga there's Star Wars, and then there's Rocky. For me, I like my Harry Potter, but that's not going to compare to these two. But let's talk the Rocky franchise. I loved Creed, Steve. I know it took me a long time to get you to watch that movie, and I know you ended up liking that movie. This one right here brings it all back together again. If you've seen Rocky 4, ladies and gentlemen, then you need to see Creed 2 because let me tell you what, Steve. Creed 2 is a fantastic, fantastic movie, sir. It's got things in there. It has surprises. There were people that showed up in this movie that I did not expect to see whatsoever. I'm going to tell you right now, I left the fucking theater literally in tears. I'm not lying to you. That's how much I like it. What I liked about this movie is that when Coogler really stepped it up, and when you have Rocky movies, especially in the 80s, you had a lot of over-the-top battle. You know what I mean? Like, there was just shit that would not truly be allowed in boxing. But the dynamic and what Sylvester Stallone was able to do with Rocky, it worked for me. Maybe it was the time. Maybe it's because I was a kid, and particularly with Rocky 4, we were dealing with we still kind of like not real great with Russia at the time, and things were a little bit scary. And that movie brought it all together, man. And it as Rocky said, he said, "If I could change, and you could change, everybody could change." It's fucking fantastic, man. Now we got, dude. This movie was fucking fantastic. You take the character of Adonis Creed, who is now at the top of his game. He lost the first battle in Creed 1, but when he comes back, well, if you haven't seen Creed 1, that's on you. But Creed 2, he comes back, he's on top now, right? And we bring back the characters of the Dragos, man. Even Ivan Drago and his son, Victor Drago, who, by the way, is phenomenal. Let me look this up real quick because I haven't memorized this guy's name yet, but I'm going to give him credit because he was awesome in it.
Isn't that Florian or something?
I was trying to say, I already had it up there. It's Florian Montañu, I think it is. He plays Victor Drago, son of Ivan Drago. You can also know him as Florian Big Nasty Montañu. Listen to this. Hold up. Oh, man. You can't get down with Bill Conti, dude. It's too much. But all right, let's talk about this real quick. Let me turn this down. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me give you my real deal thing now. I was kind of like trying to follow the music a little bit. This movie, when I went into it, I've been so excited about seeing Creed 2 since I found out it was going to come out. And when I found out that the Dragos were involved, this is just something that I have been waiting to see for 33 years. As a friend of mine put it, it's the sequel that I didn't know I wanted, but absolutely needed. And what I liked about it is when you leave Rocky 4, he's not always going to win. You know what I mean? But he wins in this one here. And what happens is, after the fact, this is 30 years later, Ivan Drago has now been shunned by Russia. He's been made a disgrace because he lost against Rocky. He lost it all. He lost his wife. He lost everything. And what he's done for this whole time, while Rocky's just been living this life, and Rocky's kind of already given up boxing. He opened up a restaurant. He opened up Adrian's restaurant. We lost Paulie already. We lost Adrian just because of old age and everything. And Rocky's been on his own. He's been training Adonis Creed. and Adonis is doing very well now. So when Adonis hits champion again, this is the time for him to actually, when I mean is Ivan Drago, it's time for him to like make his move. And there's a promoter that's been following this too, and he sees it as a perfect opportunity to have this rematch because, of course, it's going to make millions, right? It's going to be the most successful fight ever, yeah. And that's what happened. Yeah, you killed your father. I mean, what's better than a vengeance fight? You know what I mean? And so Adonis is pretty much feeling like he's on top of the world. Nothing's going to beat him, and he goes into this a little quickly. I'm not going to give you the breakdown because if I start talking about this one, I'm going to give you every goddamn spoiler in it, and I don't want to do that to you. But I'm going to switch my gears a little bit just so I don't go down that road. But I'm going to tell you, not only did I think that Michael B. Jordan did a fantastic job in this, dude, I was actually surprised at how well Dolph Lundgren did in this movie. This is a movie where I felt equally, there's equal parts here. I felt so much for Adonis and, of course, Rocky and, of course, Tessa Thompson, who plays Bianca in the movie. But, dude, you really... Double dude. But you really feel for the Dragos in this one, man. And I'm not going to say why, but I'm going to tell you this. I want, as much as I think that this movie was wrapped up nicely and you could literally stop making these movies now, I don't think it's going to happen. And I have a feeling that eventually they're going to end up making a Drago movie, and they need to be careful with this because this movie ended so perfectly. You could just walk away and be like, wow, that was wonderful. But you'll know what I'm talking about when you see it. You're going to feel like, oh, but the Dragos, and I'm not saying whether they win or lose by that matter. It's just because I'm not even talking necessarily about the boxing part of this. I'm talking about the family dynamic of what, see, Ivan Drago has been so disgraced for 30 years. He just fell from grace. Like he's not respected anymore. He's a bit of a pariah, if you will, but he has taken all that time and focus, and he's really, really hard on his son, but he's trained this massive beast, man. That Florian Montaño, he does this thing, dude. I think it's even in the commercial, so I don't even really feel like it's a spoiler, but he's doing push-ups during his training. And you know those battle ropes? He does this push-up, and then he like flips the battle ropes and then comes back down on his fist. It's like the dopest shit ever. This guy is a fucking specimen. But it's a fantastic movie, man. I have to go back and see it again. I want to just sit here and just give you every single spoiler, guys. In fact, if anyone ever wants to do a full-on, maybe Steve, if you will, as a favor to me, I want you to watch this movie and then we can come back and really, really break this one down, dude. Because I'm going
to watch it on Saturday.
That's what I wanted to do in the first place. I was actually going to just like postpone. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll come back to it. But I'll just give you kind of like the quick one on this here. But yeah. As far as Rocky movies go and the whole franchise, I think it's very much up there, but you have to understand that I've got a love for Rocky IV. I don't even know if it's necessarily the best Rocky movie, but it is my favorite Rocky movie. And the way that Michael B. Jordan struggles in this movie and the things that he and Tessa Thompson go through, I keep calling her Tessa Thompson because that's her real name, but Bianca is who I'm getting at. The struggle that they go through in this movie. Felicia Rashad, again, is fantastic. The Creed family is fantastic in this movie. But, the struggles that he goes through, you just really, really feel for him. But there's this whole other dynamic going on, man, with the Dragos, where you're just like, oh my God, like, because he was he was a machine in Rocky IV. He was just this Russian machine, and he was totally the bad guy. And when you put it into the context of when the movie came out, and again, what we were dealing with, America was dealing with Russia, you have a villain. But this puts him as a person. It really just, it humanizes him, and it humanizes his son. And there's some surprises in this here that I just did not see coming. But what I was getting at is I left the movie in tears, not because of the boxing match. It was there's a family dynamic going on here that I did not expect to see. And I don't know if I was just, because, Gail and I went out and we had sushi. We made a date out of it. We had some sushi that night, had a couple of drinks, went into the movie ready to go. So maybe was it the alcohol?
You get all emotional, Jay. You get all emotional when you drink.
Get out of here. You don't even drink with me. What are you talking about? You're talking shit right now. You're talking out of your group circle right now. But man, no, seriously. In all seriousness, there was just something that happened. I'm that invested in these movies, Steve, that when the last scene happens, I grabbed Gail by her knee. She's like, after we were driving home, she's like, you grabbed me by the damn knee. And I had tears streaming down my face, man. It doesn't happen a lot in movies. I know we say things, oh, that movie made me tear up or whatever. This movie had literal tears, multiple tears. I was streaming down my face. I felt like the biggest douche when I walked out of it.
See, I want to see if this makes me cry like Bohemian did.
It's not going to make you cry because you're not invested in Rocky movies. Like, you've got to be invested in Rocky movies to get this. And I honestly think that makes perfect sense. This is something that I've been following since I was a little kid. And, but I think that you should have seen me yesterday. I was thinking about what I was going to talk about this movie. And I think this is the movie that I really wish my dad still would have been alive for.
Oh, man.
Because, no, for real. Seriously, because I watched these movies with him, much like The Jerk. I watched these movies with him. And even when the ones that I didn't see in the theater with him, I always would go over his house and we would watch these movies. We knew the story. We talked about Rocky all the time. He was a huge Sylvester Stallone fan, particularly with Rocky. But even when it comes down to like Nighthawks and Victory, he loved all those movies, and so did I. But it was like, why did this movie come out now? Because we used to talk about that. Like, will we ever come back to that? We did really talk about that. Will we ever see Drago again? And when this movie came out, I'm like, oh, man, if Dennis would have been alive to see this one. And I really wish I could have taken him to the theater to see this one. Ooh, hold up. Whew. All right, never mind. I'm sorry. I was just going to go there for a second, but I don't think I want to get too shaky on this.
No problem.
Sorry, but yeah. And I think that's why I'm so invested in this movie is that, hold up a second.
Dude, it's okay. I don't know why you don't just do it on the pod. It's fine. I know. I totally get it.
I don't know. But I just, this movie made me miss my dad. And I think that's why I liked it so much. So I wasn't prepared to start talking like this right now. So I think I'm going to chill out. But I will say that, sorry, guys, I really was never. Don't laugh at me, motherfucker. This is real shit.
I'm not. I think it's a really good moment. And I don't know why you keep on stopping it.
I don't know, because I don't want to be a blubbering mess. But
that's okay to be a blubbering mess about this.
When it comes to my pops, man. Yeah. But this movie really made me miss my pops. So I wasn't expecting to do this. Go out and see Rocky, motherfucker. Okay. I was really meaning to talk about this more. And let me just tell you something real quick. I was wanting to like do a little better job at talking about this one, but when I was thinking about this yesterday, I'm just sitting there washing dishes and I'm thinking about this movie and my fucking eyes just start going. And I'm like, okay, I can't do this on the show. I don't want to do this on the show, but I don't think that I'm capable of talking about Rocky IV. A Rocky series, anything that has to do with my pops, man, where we had that bonding like that, it's just really hard for me to do. So, guys, yeah, this is me. I'm kind of crying right now. So, please go see Rocky. Excuse me, I can't even talk anymore. Let me get my shit together for a second. Go see Creed 2. I don't expect you guys to have this blubbering thing that I'm having right now, but that's how much these movies mean to me, and I love the way that it wrapped up. And if they never made another movie again in the Rocky franchise, I think this was the one to end it on because it ends perfectly. The final shot of Rocky looking at the ring is nothing short of iconic. And you'll see what I'm talking about when you see this one. Like, pay attention. But another thing that we could talk about is that I think was a difference from the other movies was that, when you see Rocky movies, you see them, they were over the top, to say the least. Yes. I mean, these things would not happen in real life. They just wouldn't happen in real life. I think that Creed, particularly Coogler, started this where he made the movies a little more realistic. And in this one in general, the movies this is just a very realistic movie. Like, this could totally happen. It has a formula that goes with the other Rocky movies, whereas Creed didn't. And I'll give props to Coogler for that because he did step out of that realm. This one's directed by Steven. I think I'm a little better now. Let me just take a quick breath. Whew. I'm sorry, folks. So the director is Stephen Capel Jr., and he does a fine job with this movie. He really does. I think that I'd like the way Coogler directs a little bit more, and the way that he illustrates the whole story. But I will give Stephen Capel Jr. the credit of making this probably one of the most realistic boxing matches that I've ever seen on screen. You feel when you're in there. Like, when you would watch a Rocky movie, the music that I was playing before it's so intense and you're just all like wrapped up in it. And like when I saw Rocky IV in the 80s, it was just a different time. People were literally, I was in the front, not the front row. I was in there the first night is what I was going to say. And people were literally standing up in their seats and like swinging and cussing at the screen. It was like nothing that I've ever seen before. And perhaps that's why I like that one the most. But this one was so realistic that when Adonis Creed takes hits, you feel that shit. Like, and again, going back with the Rocky formula, with Rocky formula, what I mean is, Rocky would go in and he'd be really arrogant about things or just sort of cocky about things. And he would never be prepared as much as he thought he was prepared. He falls from grace, and it's about the movie is about his redemption and gaining back what he deserves. It takes from that page, it takes from that story, and it does oh God, I'm all fucked up right now, Steve. I'm really sorry about that. But it takes a page out of that book is what I'm trying to say. But the way that this film is shot, and the training is another thing too. You know, like if you go back to Rocky 4, you've got Rocky like
in the woods, jumping up and down with a tree,
lifting logs and.
I tried that crap because of watching that stupid shit movie. G, in a Tascadero looking like a dummy.
Yeah, I mean it's great, you know, and you've got the Survivor soundtrack, you know, the Survivor songs on it. Man, I can't believe how much that fucked me up right now. I'm really sorry, you guys.
And then talking about Yasibia, that was my first Russian quote. I was like, Yasibia, because we watched it so much.
Yeah.
Which is a shame. But not to interrupt you, but can I say something real quick?
Please, dude. Let me get my shit together for a second.
Real quick, I want to give props to Ryan Coogler. Let me tell you why. He did the impossible. What people thought was impossible, what I thought was impossible, so long that you had to convince me to watch it. Because I said, no, it's impossible. You can't bring this back. It's over. The fact that he not only brought it back, but he brought it back enough for it to now have a sequel. That is an impossible feat. And he did the impossible. And I was just like, that is pretty when you really think about it, that is insane. No one thought that would happen. And maybe it's partly Michael B. Jordan. Maybe it's because he picked the perfect person to be him. Maybe that has something to do with it. But regardless, the fact that most people would have ran away from this project, would have said, hell no. Because remember, he had to convince Stallone to be. Stallone was kind of even like, ugh, this could be bad, man.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you have Stallone read your script and he was like, wait a minute, this can be something. And not only that, but say, now it's so good that if you left it and you didn't have anything to do with it, you have paved a road that I paved in the beginning. You repaved it well enough where we can keep rolling. Bruh, he did the impossible. He did the impossible. So I'm just like, the fact that you convinced me to watch the first one and now you're saying, no, the road paved was well enough to make a sequel. Because sometimes you try to get that money grab and it doesn't work out too well. You're telling me that no. It was well worth it. And so I can't wait to see. Mind you, I was going to see it anyway, but after what you've just told me, I'm in, dude. I am going to watch it. I mean, but who wouldn't want to watch, not Apollo, but you are watching Creed versus Drago in a way, again. Who doesn't want to watch that?
And that's the thing, too, without giving any spoilers or anything like that, there are some, if you're a true Rocky fan, pay attention during the fights. You're going to see some awesome Easter eggs. And that's all I'm going to say about it.
Can't wait.
I would recommend watching Rocky 4 and then going to see Creed 2, because there's just these little things that happen in the movie that are total throwbacks to Rocky 4. They're clearly Easter eggs and they're fantastic. Super subtle, but you're like, oh shit. And I'm going to leave it at that.
I can't wait.
This movie is for Rocky fans, man. I don't know. There are people out there that are just non-Creed fans. Maybe they just thought that should have been it. Personally, I think it was a perfect extension of the franchise. And as much as I want to see these movies just keep being made, if they stopped right now, they stopped at the perfect spot. But again, dealing with like father and son shit, man, this movie really, really got me. And you just heard what I just did.
Yeah.
You should have seen me that night. I was a fucking mess, seriously. But
yeah, that poster is crazy. When I saw the poster for Creed 2, I was like, oh my God, that is a dope poster with just Michael B. Jordan sitting there in the shadows. What the crap, dude? Like this, and dude, he looked humongous. I was like, did he get that much bigger?
That's what I was going to get at. Like, you see, at least this is what I saw. Because, again, it's got the Rocky formula. You're going to have 2 fights in this, and that's all I'm going to say about it. But from the first fight to the second fight, because much like Rocky
he
movies,
gained like 20 pounds, I heard.
Yeah, he goes harder for these movies. That's what I was getting at. You know, you have those that Russia training scene, right? It's over the top. Let's face it, it's over the top.
No pun intended.
In this one here, hey, check it out. You got me. That's a Stallone reference. If you little kids don't know what he's talking about.
I guarantee no one knew. People were like, what?
Some people knew.
You knew that you want to meet me halfway across the sky?
Oh, stop it, Steve. We've gone too far. What I was going to get at is that there's a training scene much like that, but it's not over the top. This could go down.
Yes.
Rocky takes him to this area.
Yes.
I don't even say where, because you know what? Enjoy the movie. It's still so new. I don't want to give you that yet. But Rocky takes him to this area to get that final training on. And it's very realistic versus what you're used to seeing where he's climbing mountains going,
yes.
Drago!
Yes.
You know, that kind of thing. But yeah, this whole movie was fantastic, man. I just think that there could be nobody better to play Adonis Creed than Michael B. Jordan. And the fact that Sylvester Stallone is still kicking and giving us these fantastic movies and still putting in the performance that he's able to put in was amazing. Now this was the case in Creed 2, but you know, the character of Duke, who was Apollo Creed's trainer,
yes.
who eventually started helping out Rocky, his son's in it, and he was in the other one too. But they just do such a fine job of tying it all together and not making it go so far off that, you know, you're like, you can't even buy into it anymore. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And the fighting is a lot better too, because it's not so unrealistic. Like, this shit could really happen the way that they were fighting. There was times in Rocky 4, I was just watching it yesterday, and it's like, they would have stopped it. They would have stopped this fight a million years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this just wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
I don't care what decade you're in, but it's just a much more realistic thing. And here's the deal, dude. Whoever was training Michael B. Jordan for this role clearly is a masterful boxer, because he looks like a boxer in this movie. Like, it's not, I've seen movies where you see an actor playing a boxer is what I'm getting at.
Yes.
And even with Stallone, you know, he was Rocky, so you got to give him his props. But the way that whoever trained Michael B. Jordan to play Adonis Creed, particularly in this movie, knew their shit, because he looks like a genuine boxer in this movie. That dude is massive. He got so massive in this movie, man. I wish I could be built like that fucking guy. So I can't talk about this one enough. I'm so sorry, guys, that I kind of lost my way.
Don't apologize. You know what's funny? Can I go on a little tangent?
Sure, tangent away.
So this week at work, there was a person that I met. He's never going to hear this, but I will not say his name. It was a doctor friend. You know how I talk to everyone, and we struck up a conversation. He was a husband of a doctor, and we were just talking, you know, getting into each other's lives, and you know, we just going about, you know, whatever. And I, you know, brought up the fact that men don't cry enough. And he stopped and he looked at me. He's like, you know, you're right. He's like, we really don't. I'm like, if you can laugh and you can feel fear. I was like, that's why I think people go to Halloween Horror Nights, is because we have to feel something. That's as close to a feeling as we're going to allow to get in public. And so later on, he was talking to me about his brother who had passed away, and he started crying. And his wife was like, oh, and he just starts weeping. And he tells me, and he's like, you know, I'm only doing this because I know you're okay with it. I was like, damn. I was like, so if he ever told the story any other place, he'd probably hold it in. But he's like, I'm only letting this out because I know you're okay with it. I was like, we need to be a world that's okay with that. If we're not that world, then what's the point?
I'll be honest with you, and I think that Steve would agree with me. I'm talking to you folks that are listening right now. I think in any other situation, I would have said, Steve, let's cut. Let me try that one more time. I know I would have done that. But because of why I kind of lost it right there, and trust me, I could lose it a lot more. But when it comes to my pops, that's just all out of respect.
Course.
I miss that man more than anything. I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop. And you know what it is? It's the fucking holidays that are getting me, Steve.
Of course. And the thing is, man, we're going to stop talking about it. But here's what I'll say. To talk about Creed. We'll take it back to Creed. Watching Creed 1, now it wasn't like a tearful thing, but it gave me chills when I saw Creed running down the street with the motorcycles, because it made me feel like I was a part of the Rocky series now.
Yeah, well, it's a take on that. It was a take on the original Rocky series too, you know?
Exactly, but now it's he wouldn't run with a bunch of people running around him. In his hood, that's what happens. And I was like, Coogler did such a subtle thing. And it's about Rocky now being introduced to this subtle difference of even their conversations. He had to get used to how Creed worked. He wasn't raised, oddly enough, even though he was raised differently, he was an upper class dude. So even in that upper class dude, Sylvester pulled him into this, this hood life, but even the hood cats took him in. It was just so much stuff going on that I was just like, and that's a movie. See, here we go. That's a movie I could watch again and again. But I know what's going to happen. But it's not about the fight. It's about the story of Creed. I could watch that again and again and again. And by what you're saying, he now drips it until the next one, because I don't think that the Creed I'm going to see in this next movie is the Creed I saw as a upper class rich kid learning how to be this thing. He is this thing now.
Yeah.
There is no learning. I bet you he's different from the beginning of Creed. I don't even know if that person is a person I'm going to see ever again if they continue to make these movies. That kid was spoiled. That literally pulled him down a notch. He was so spoiled, he thought he could just jump into a ring with a seasoned boxer and beat him. That's where Creed's head was.
If you watch Rocky movies and you've watched enough of them, you know, like say Rocky 3, he was on top of the world and he kind of got lax a little bit. He knew he was the shit.
Yes.
And he could just take on anybody, but he got lax. There's that going on in this one here.
And he's always had that in him.
It's almost like it's almost like what's the word I'm looking for? Like he was entitled to it because I'm the champion now, so I'm the best in the world.
My last name entitles me to that.
Right.
I'm so good that I can do that. Yeah.
Exactly. And he let that last name get the best of him in this movie where it was more about like speaking of fathers and everything, and dead fathers for that matter. He let his emotions get in the way of what he was really like. He lost focus. He loses focus in this movie, much like the formula. That's what I'm getting at. It's the formula of Rocky. He loses focus, but when he gains it back, it's just so goddamn good, man. I don't want to say any more about it, but I do want you to see this, and hopefully we can talk about this again.
I can't freaking wait. I'm hoping that he's like, hey, you gotta lose the woman. You have to, because you gotta focus, bruh. But you can't tell me if he does. But in my brain, I'm like, hey, in order to focus, you gotta dip. You gotta leave all of that stuff in order to beat Drago. Even though I know what already happens in the movie has already happened, in my brain, I'm like, hey, if you're gonna beat Homeboy, you need to live all that crap. I'm talking about you got to leave the woman. You got to leave your moms. You got to stop talking to everybody. Go into the cabin like freaking Sylvester did, or totally secluded.
Yeah.
And get ready, because Homeboy is no joke. And so I can't wait to see it, because in my brain, I've already created a thought process.
And I'll tell you this, you're not that far off. I won't tell you how, but there is that element, but there's a whole thing that they've added to this movie that's reminded me, okay, so let's take it back to another Rocky movie. Let's go to Rocky 2. In Rocky 2, and I can't say spoilers, this movie's so goddamn old, but in Rocky 2, Adrian is pregnant, and she goes into a coma.
Yes.
And so like she goes into a coma, and when she comes back out of it, you know, she's like, there's just one thing I want you to do for me, Rocky. Like, what's that? Win. You know what I'm saying? there's that kind of thing that's going on in this one,
like
but there's a dynamic that's going on with him with Adonis and Bianca. I won't tell you their story, but he's really dealing with some real life shit in this movie. So he's got, not only does he have the outcome of the first initial bout to deal with, and I won't get into what happens in this one here, but it's fucking graphic. He's dealing with that. He's trying to just deal with himself as a man, but he's got this whole other element that's going on between him and Bianca, and the way it's just masterfully done, dude. And I'm not even giving it like the credit, because it's just part of the Rocky franchise. You know what I'm saying? Like,
okay, can we say this officially? That the next episode, people, I'm speaking on behalf of Dan. I might be wrong. He'll correct me if I am. But the Creed talk is going to have spoilers at the end too, because this is a big deal. Yeah, this is a big deal, and it wasn't a big deal before Creed for me. Well, let me change that. Rocky 4 was always a big deal for me. I don't know why I like that movie so much, but every time it came on, I'd watch it. I could almost recite certain parts of that movie because I thought it was so cool, even though there were wild swings at the end where no one swings like that.
Right.
That's the one thing kind of Coogler did different is, no, you guys are going to act like boxers.
Yes, exactly.
We're going to fight like boxers. And so, but I loved the fact there has very rarely been a evil quote, the likes of which a Russian, who we were, I'm sure at the time, scared of because we knew nothing about them really. For me, I didn't. I just knew this was a beast of a man. And then homegirl, what was her, Bridget Nelson? She looked...
Yeah, Nielsen.
Yeah, Nielsen. And so when he says, looks up, looks down at homeboy, hugely rocked out, and he says, if he dies, G. Who doesn't root for the beating of that man?
Yeah.
Who doesn't root for the beating of that man?
There's something, you're totally right about that. But now, and I recommend, Steve, I'll try and find a way to get one to you if you don't have Rocky 4 in your catalog, man. But, oh, by the way, guys, just because I'm that guy that's going to let this thing, like, make me spend money, I just wanted to, this is how bad I am. Like, I've already had these movies, right? but I wanted them for my Apple TV. So no plug for Apple TV or anything like that. But I just, in case you're interested, you can actually buy the whole Rocky bundle for $29.99 right now
bad.
on Apple. Yeah, no, I bought the whole thing yesterday, and it's
Which one was Tommy
great.
Guns?
Ooh, now let's talk about that for just a second. That is one of the shittiest movies on the face of the earth.
Okay, gee, I guess okay, here's the thing. I saw it in the drive-in, Sunset Drive-in, San Luis Obispo with my mother.
Mhm.
I loved it.
I hated that movie. It's hot garbage.
Maybe-
And even Stallone thinks it's hot garbage.
I loved that movie, especially I just thought Tommy Guns was a beast.
I think if you were to sit and just, like, I know you won't do this, but if you were just to sit and watch them back to back, you would clearly see how bad this movie is.
Oh, no, I guarantee compared to 4, it's bad, but I like the street fight, because that was around the time I was playing Double Dragon, so it was kind of just like, oh, they're street fighting.
Yeah. Yeah, even that didn't work for me, I'll be honest with you, when I saw it. I'm like,
damn.
because I wanted to, by the way, this isn't even in the movie. I'm going to go back for just a second, but this isn't even in the movie, but I saw some footage. There's a lot of footage out there that they cut out, man. Because I saw this thing that was someone put up on Twitter the other day, and it shows Rocky and Ivan Drago fighting in some like a street fight. They're fighting in some public place or something like that. And I got pissed when I saw that. It's like, why would you put that up? You know what I mean? Like, why would you do something like that? Turns out, if you did see that, it's not in the movie, so don't go in there expecting to see that. That's all I'm going to say. Again, I don't.
You know,
want to
there
really
was an
spoil this movie
actual
at all.
boxer that did have a street fight.
Who's that?
Mike Tyson.
Oh, Mike Tyson is like, he's
remember
like
when he stitched that guy? He stitched the guy's eyes shut because the guy said, "You can only fight in the ring. You can't fight me outside the ring." And the dude said, "Let's." And Tyson's like, "Let's go in the back in the alley right here." He stitched his eyes shut. G.
I'm not surprised at all.
No boxer would do that today, but he's just like, I can beat you. I'm a street guy. I could beat you right now. But anyway, getting back to the street fighting thing, I think that's what hit me because I was so into the street fighting thing that I was just like, ooh, a street fight. But I bet you if I watched it today, I'd be like, this is trash. Maybe. I might still like it.
Maybe. And, more power to you if you do. But just personally speaking, it's kind of, not even just personally speaking, like it's just common knowledge that movie is sort of like the crap stain on the underwear of the Rocky franchise. You know what I mean? It's just bad. It's really, really bad. But I will say that Rocky Balboa redeemed it. Like, I think a lot of people thought, oh, like, okay, it's over. Like, this is where Stallone's at now, and he shouldn't have made this movie. But he came back correct with Rocky Balboa. And if it wasn't for Rocky Balboa, we would not be seeing these Creed movies right now.
See, I didn't really like Rocky Balboa that much. I thought it was really liked it.
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like in the tell you what, would you like to hear my rating of the Rocky movies?
No. Yes. Give me the sequence. Is this considered a Rocky movie? Are Creed's Rockies or no?
I think they're Creed movies, but at the same time, it's all Rocky franchise, So let me go ahead and just pull this up real quick here.
Okay, give me the.
Now, I've been thinking about this, and I don't care if you don't, not you, Steve, but if you don't agree with me, whatever. But again, Rocky IV is probably going to be my favorite Rocky movie because I saw it the first night that it came out. And again, I've never seen a theater go crazy like that before. So maybe that's what it was. It was the time. It had to do with America versus Russia and all of that. And, we lost Apollo. It was a very moving picture for me. So
spoiler
that's
alert.
Kind of my favorite. Oh, come on, man. If you ain't seen it yet, you ain't going to see it. But yeah, spoiler, whatever. It's, you know what? There's the statute of limitations have definitely passed. But I would say that's probably my favorite movie. It's my funnest Rocky movie, if you will.
Okay.
Number 2 is going to be Rocky because it's just phenomenal. It's that underdog movie that no one knew that they wanted, and of course he won an Oscar for it. It was a fantastic movie. He wasn't going to let anyone else play it. We never would have seen that movie if Hollywood would have said, no, you're not the guy for it. We never would have seen Rocky.
And he was a little soft in it too.
Yeah.
He was not like rocked out yet.
It was the beginning of the formula that I'm referring to.
Yeah.
He was on top of the world, kind of like he wasn't really on top of the world in that one, but actually, no, I take that back. Rocky 3 is, but this was a redemption movie. You know what I mean? He had a lot to lose. And like I said, that whole dynamic between him and Adrian in that one was fantastic.
Totally.
And then I had to start thinking about it. And I think I will go Rocky 3 on this one. Now, there's spoilers, guys. Like, if you're that guy that's going to be like, spoilers for a 30-year-old movie, don't listen. But Rocky 3 is definitely number 4 for me. And it's because we lost Mick in that one. And that was something else. I think that Clubber Lang was a fantastic character. It introduced us to Mr. T. But again, we started really getting over the top on these movies. This is when it started to go
when they do these wild, massive swings where they're going fighting, flying across the thing. I'm like, oh, that's a thing. Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, it gave us Mr. T, and he was fantastic in it, and that's where we first heard "I Pity the Fool." Then we had him talking to Adrian like, "Hey woman," doing that shit. I don't know if you remember.
He did a big time Muhammad Ali in that.
Yeah, like he was showboating.
He was a talker. Yeah, he was a big talker.
Now this is where it starts to get controversial for some, I think. But I'm gonna have to go. Now this is where the ranking may change, okay? Because you just saw what happened to me right now when I talked about Creed 2. But because it was the revival of a franchise, I'm going to go ahead and give number 5 to Creed because Ryan Coogler just knocked it out of the park on that one. And again, that would have been it. Like if that movie would have failed, we would not be seeing this one that we just saw.
True.
Now it goes to Creed 2, and the ranking may change, man, because it's just that good. I'm going to go back and see it, I think, on Monday morning. Yes. And when we talk about it, I'll let you know how I feel about that then.
Okay.
But then we get into, like I said, you said you didn't think that one was that good. Rocky Balboa is definitely number 7 for me. But I think it was great. I liked the introduction of Milo Ventimiglia in that one as his son, Robert. And it was a fine movie. I think that, again...
Don't you mean Jack?
Jack from This Is Us. I just start... these days I look at Milo Ventimiglia, I just start crying.
Gee, it's a perfect show. Anyway.
Yeah,
He's a perfect... I mean, the dude is... Anyway,
he's fantastic. Milo Ventimiglia is fantastic. He's one of my favorite actors out right now.
And do you know they have the same, they were born with the same issue with their mouth too. So.
Yeah, and I think that's a perfect fit, wouldn't you?
Oh, I mean, it's kind of, if he walked into the casting area, I'd be like, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
You've got to be kidding me. I would just walk, if I had my kid there, I'd be like, you want to leave now or do you want to leave?
I'm going to go get a soda. I'll be right back. But yeah, I think that Rocky Balboa is my 7th favorite. But at the same time, like I said before, if that movie wouldn't have hit right, we would not be seeing these Creed movies. So, that's why that one stands out.
I'm shocked you put Rocky Balboa underneath the Mr. T one.
Well, again, we lost Mick. That was emotional for me, man. When Mickey dies in that movie and how Rocky... Oh God, yeah. Even to this day, when Rocky loses it, when Mick dies, when he's like laying on his dead body. Yes. Oh my God, that's emotional shit right there. And of course, it's where we get Apollo Creed who comes back out of the shadows and says, "I'm going to train you," and that was amazing. There were some parts in that movie where they go to L.A. because Apollo Creed was from L.A. and he takes Rocky from Philly to get him, like you're saying, away from everything and just to concentrate on the boxing. Teaches him how to box. Not like the Italian stallion, but teaching him, the LA way, man, and teaching him how to box. Turned him into, he was just a straight southpaw at the time, and he teaches him how to use his right a lot better. That whole part was great. The only part that I thought was really silly was when they're running on the beach. Do you remember that part? They're running on the beach.
I do remember.
And they're like splashing in the water. That was a little bit on the silly
with the
side.
high shorts. Yes.
But what's cool about it is in the whole Rocky lore, at the very end of that movie, Rocky gives Apollo the chance to fight him again, just off camera, just the two of them, just to see, you know what I mean? As a friend to me, fight me. And Rocky.
And they allude to it in Creed. But what I liked about that, and figure this out for yourself, ladies and gentlemen, you get the results. They actually touch on it again in Rocky 4, which they replay that scene before the movie starts. But in Creed, Rocky tells what happens in that one. And I thought that was actually really cool that they brought that back up again. Yeah, and it's interesting because I might be remembering this totally different, but Ventimiglia, wasn't there another kid?
Yeah, that was Rocky's son. You talking about the guy that played Rocky's son? I mean,
yes, that was Rocky's actual son.
That was Sylvester Stallone's actual son. Yeah,
he looks nothing like him.
No, not at all. But that was him in Rocky 4.
That's interesting. Okay,
was it Rocky 4? I think it was Rocky 4. Yeah,
I don't remember. Sure. I just remember there being another kid that I'm.
Or was it Rocky 5? You know what? Now I got to check it out real quick. I don't want to. I love these movies, but now I got to see which one. But I know that at one point he had his son in the movie. So let me just peep this really quick.
Because I remember that he was just a kid that was like, he don't look nothing like him. Was he no, he wasn't. Never mind.
For time's sake, I just realized the time. For time's sake, I'm not going to go there. If you want to find that out, folks, that's what IMDb's for. But
yeah, yes, and you know what? I got to get out of here too.
So this is perfect timing. But yes, so obviously I loved Creed 2. You just saw what happened right now. You just saw me bitch up and snivel on this. Or you heard me, rather.
Stop referring to it like that, G?
I'm just saying it happened.
If anything, it's manning up and crying.
Yeah, okay, I man up
yes, it's okay for that
But
reason.
I was a sniveling fool right now. So, okay, let's talk rating on this one, Steve. You can't rate it because you didn't see it yet. I think the way that I left that theater, I'm going to go ahead. What are we going to call? Okay, what's our rating on this one? Can you help me out? Let's see.
I would say gloves.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm going to go ahead and call them Polly's. I'm going to give it 5.
That's
I'm
fair,
Pauly.
even though he's not in this.
He's not in it, but I love Pauly. So just as respect to Pauly,
That's
Burt
true.
Young's character, I'm going to give this movie definitely, I'm going to give it 5 out of 5 Paulys, man.
Could I
Because I will
prejudge?
watch this movie multiple times throughout my life. I guarantee it.
Can I give it a prejudging?
I don't know how much weight that bears, but sure, go
And
for
not a lot, but I heard it can get somebody pregnant still. So could I get?
That's quite the rating. Use your birth control, ladies. Apparently, his rating can get people pregnant. Per Steve.
So prejudging.
Yes.
I think I'm going 4.5 prejudging. And I'm going to see if it goes. I think it's going to go up. I have a feeling because from what I've seen, again, I think it's only because I have an attachment. And what they did was they attached me to my favorite Rocky. They're like, if you don't know any of the other Rockies, I bet you know that one. And you're like, you do? Yes, I do know that one.
Yeah. I always, like I said, I tend to go back and forth on my ratings, but the reason that I give this one 5 out of 5 Pauly, Steve, is because, like I said, I'm going to watch it a bunch of times. I know I'm going to, but it is, and I can't, we'll talk about this the next time on the next show, but it is the Drago story that really did it for me. Out of everything else, the Drago story, you're left wanting more of that. And I was just reading an article today that there may be something, there may be something in the works. I'm like on the fence. Like, you should just sort of leave well enough alone, but you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when you watch this movie. If they do it, let's just say they better do it right. If they better pull a Creed on a Drago if they do this right.
So you think if Ryan Coogler takes the him again, you think this could be good?
I don't even think it has anything to do with Ryan Coogler. I mean, great, he did a fantastic job, but whoever helms that project has to bring it like Ryan Coogler did, or else it's not going to be worth it.
But do you see Michael B. Jordan coming back for another one? Or do you think this is it?
I just hope that if they do it quickly, because you're going to need to have Stallone in this one. You're going to have to. That's true.
And
I don't think that Michael B. Jordan would be able to do it alone as Adonis Creed in the in the Drago movies that don't exist right now. You need to have Stallone in this one to make it work.
I think the hard part is, Michael B. Jordan just started off a huge movie company.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling that if he does movies going forward, he's going to want which makes sense. He's going to want his production company doing the movie. And not everyone is going to be okay with just let me co-produce this movie. They might be like, you know what? No, we kind of don't want to do that. So I have a feeling that going forward, he's going to want this money going to him with his production company. It would make sense.
And I don't care about any of that. It's just that if you're going to do this, do it right. Come like they came for Creed, and we should be okay. But there is a story to be told there, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when you see it eventually. So you said you're going to see it Saturday, right?
Oh, I'm going to see it tomorrow.
That. Okay, cool.
Now, I don't think that, the good thing is that worst case scenario, Adonis doesn't have to be in the Drago story or in the Florian story. He can just not be there.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, but they're going to have to do it right. And it seems to me that, they're good.
His face brings people. Michael B. Jordan's face brings people to the theater.
Right.
So if you don't have his face there, hopefully after this movie, Florian's face is enough to bring you to the theater. Will it be after this movie? I don't know. I don't know.
Like I said, I'm on the fence. If they don't do any more movies, I'm perfectly cool with it. If they do, they better bring it, or it's just, they can kind of just like sink the whole ship. You know what I mean?
That's
that
is
it for
Creed
me. I give it the highest of ratings.
Done deal. And ladies and gentlemen, we got to get out of here.
We really do.
Because I have to go do some CIA agent stuff, and Dan has to go to a normal job.
I got to go deal with a bunch of people that ate too much food yesterday. That's National Gastrointestinal Day to me, man. So it's going to be
I was thinking you're going to get some food poisoning situations, no?
Oh, yeah. People are going to... There's this exam called an MRCP where you just stare at people's gallbladders and their common bile duct. Sorry, boring shit. But this is the day where I do the most of those out of the year. National MRCP Day. Anyway.
Nice. All right, people. I'm out of here. I love y'all so much. I'm glad that you guys had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Don't forget, send in your pet peeves. Make sure you send them all in and let us know what your solution would be. Also, Dan has not forgotten. Send in your Christmas stories, because we do not Christmas stories. Your what is it? Hallmark.
Yeah, on that note, if we don't get any other ones, I'm pretty much prepared to scrap the whole idea because it's it was a thought, it was a whimsical thought, but we're not getting a lot of response for that one. So if you want it, if you want to talk make them sarcastic, make them short, give me some Christmas stories, and I'll make them funny. That's what sound effects are for. We'll make them good. If not, no big deal. We'll scrap it.
Pet peeves or Hallmark? It's up to you.
Either one, both.
Either way, yes, exactly. Either way, I love y'all. I can't wait to see you sooner than it sounds. We're going to be seeing you guys very soon. Can't wait to see y'all. Love y'all. This is your boy Steve saying peace to the grease out.
And my name is Dan Ramirez. Thank you very much we had a longer show this time. I think we did. A little bit.
We did. We totally
Just
did.
a little bit longer, but it was a fun show. And I'm sorry for our tardiness, but I'll be putting this out as soon as possible. Today's Friday. I'm imagining you're going to hear this on a Saturday. So guys, thank you very much for your patience. Be good to yourself. Be good to everyone around you. We are the heroes of noise. Peace.